you can help, visit 985thesportshub.com/caring.
From the Telfair Time Studios, WBC FM and HD1.
It's not just the games. It's Toucher and Hardy, Zolak and Bertrand, Felger and Maz, Joe Murray. For Boston sports fans, it's 98.5, the Sports Hub.
Beasley Media Group Station.
Sports Hub headlines. Presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
The Red Sox fell to the Angels 7-6 last night at Fenway Park. The two teams are back at it tonight. First pitch is just minutes away. Brian Bayo is on the mound for the Sox. Marcelo Meyer, he is not in the lineup again against a lefty. Big NBA news today is the New York Knicks fired head coach Tom Thibodeau. The move came on the heels of the Knicks making the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in 25 years, a series they ultimately lost to the Pacers in 6 games. According to multiple reports, the decision was made by team president Leon Rose along with support from Knicks owner James Dolan, with a feeling that it is in the best interest of getting to the next level of winning a championship. Mike Giardi of Boston Sports Journal reporting that the Patriots wide receiver Stefon Diggs has not been fully cleared medically as he returns from the torn ACL suffered in late October, which is why he was not allowed to work against full contact yesterday. He can, however, rehab with others, which is what he did. The Patriots and their number 4 overall pick, Will Campbell, have agreed to terms on his 4-year, $43.6 million fully guaranteed rookie contract. Trevion Henderson and Craig Woodson remain unsigned from the Patriots rookie class. And NHL insider Frank Saravalli of Daily Faceoff on his Daily Faceoff live show today said there's still rumblings that Dallas is considering a coaching change. If that was the case, that would put Peter DeBoer on the market, and the Bruins are still without a head coach. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Awaken 180. Make a pledge not to buy bigger shorts this summer. Fit into last year's shorts or even last decade's shorts in just weeks with Awaken 180. I'm Kevin Majori on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Joe Murray has you next in a half hour.
Listen to it, laugh at it, get mad at it, agree with it, argue about it. It is Boston Sports. Boston Sports. And it is all we do. 98.5, the Sports Hub.
Well, it's a Joe show. We've seen it. Nobody wants to be there. It's a big bad show tonight. Just can't take this damn parade. Who cares? Yeah, Joe show. There's a 2-mile wait to get past the damn green line.
Anyone who gets scared by a bear in the neighborhood, call Joe Murray.
I happen to trust Joe Murray. First time I ever met Joe Murray was at a Hooters.
All right, welcome in 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray with you tonight. Full show. A lot to get into here. Wow. Drama happening throughout the day today. And we'll certainly react to some of the moves that are happening in the NBA and how it affects the Boston Celtics. More on the Patriots. Some news coming out today regarding Stefon Diggs, and they finally signed their first-round pick. And the Red Sox about to begin another game at Fenway Park today against the Angels. That's where I wanted to start. We don't get much time to talk about the Red Sox because we go up against the Red Sox, but I wanted to bring up first-inning issues as before the game starts. The Red Sox are 16-15 at Fenway Park. They're 6-16 this season in one-run games. They haven't won more than 2 games in a row since a 3-game winning streak back in April. Richard Fitz last night, his outing, it cost the team. He was upset after the game, but you can't give up 6 runs in the first inning and win. It's hard. The Sox did battle back. They showed some fight. They might have lost their cool a little bit. I know Jaron Duran on a check swing. Certainly at the end of the day, it was a loss, but he was upset. And Alex Cora had to somewhat help him last night. But Cora as well. This was one of the quotes after the game. I truly believe our pitching staff should be better. I'm wondering if that was a shot. He called out the pitching staff. Now, is that an Andrew Bailey thing? Is that a philosophy thing? Is it whatever? He went 1 inning. They had to go to the bullpen. Bullpen did great. Hunter Dobbins came in, took over. It was awesome. But Alex Cora after the game saying, I truly believe our pitching staff should be better. Was it a shot? So I wanted to at least start there. A couple of other things. Brian Bayo is on the mound tonight. And this season, so far, he's had 8 starts. He's given up a home run in 5 of the 8 starts. So keep an eye on that one for tonight. I wonder what the over-under is on home runs for that one. But Bayo has allowed at least 1 home run in 15 of his last 26 starts over at Fenway Park. Joe Math. It's 57.7%, 58%. And going back to 2023, Brian Bayo has allowed at least 1 home run in 36 of his 65 starts. That is 55%, Joe Math. 18 of his... Fenway is another thing. In 33 starts at Fenway, he's given up a home run in 18 of 33. It's 54%. 18 of 32 starts on the road, 56. The guy gives up home runs. The Red Sox have been giving up runs in the first inning. It's been terrible to watch. Some of the numbers have just been horrific. Like these first innings have been terrible. And I wanted to give a shout out to our buddy Brian Barrett, who was on with us last night. But he mentioned some of the struggles early on for the team, and this is why I think the Garrett Crochet thing the other day bothered me because, hey, if the other team knows it's coming, then, like, why are you throwing it? And he did it again this week. It was a foul ball. But they are 6 for 13 against him this year. This is where the Red Sox rank in the first inning, and I'm doing this before the game starts. Batters are hitting .306 this season in the first inning against the Red Sox starting pitching. That is 29th in the league. The Sox are basically a bottom-tier pitching team in the first inning. Now, there's multiple things to get into. Let me give you more. OBP, the batters are .374, slugging .516. That's 29th, and 27th. That's where their pitching staff is just in the first inning. Can you get out to better starts? So, what would make you think a team struggles early on? What is it? I would love to tell you it's the manager, right? Because in any other sport, when a team's not ready to go, that's who you blame. So I think we've been doing a lot of blaming on the manager, and clearly it's an issue. Clearly. But is it on Cora or is it on Andrew Bailey? There's friction in that roster, in that management group. Whether it's Breslow, whether it's Cora, whether it's Bailey, there's an issue. I point to the pitching staff. Who runs the pitching staff? Andrew Bailey. What was the quote that I just shared for you just a little while ago? Alex Cora last night. I truly believe our pitching staff should be better. I took that as a shot. At some point, the Red Sox have to try to win back-to-back games, right? I got into this last night. The win on Sunday with Garrett Crochet means nothing because you lost last night to the Angels, one of the worst teams in baseball. So, you're not going on a win streak. Your pitching continues to struggle. You couldn't get out of the first inning. The first inning woes are all there. When you lost terribly in one-run games once again in walk-offs, you did nothing. Heads didn't roll. So I am interested to see what Brian Bayo and the Red Sox do in the first inning today because the numbers are not good. They're not good. Having pitched fewer than 5 innings, it's horrible what this starting rotation has done. We can all blame the manager, but sometimes there's a fall guy in these situations, right? Is Andrew Bailey going to be the fall guy for not having the team ready to go early in first innings? Again, I would say it's the manager. Craig Breslow comes out and says, we're committed to him. What's going to change? We'll watch. First pitch is coming up in just a few minutes here. We'll watch. We'll see what's going to happen. But first inning. And here's one more thing on Brian Bayo, because we can say he's disappointing. We can say he has trouble getting into the 5th inning. Can the manager have a little bit of belief in him like he did in Crochet? I get that it's two different pitchers. I get it. But when Brian Bayo has 85 pitches after 4 innings, can you consider maybe throwing him out there for the 5th? Or actually having him go past 5 innings? They're afraid to do that. They're afraid. What do you got? If you don't care about winning and losing, why are you taking him out? We'll leave it there at 617-779-0985. That's all on the Red Sox. We'll get into their pitching and a little bit more coming up. But something else happened today. The New York Knicks fired Tom Thibodeau. The guy that beat Joe Mazzulla in the Boston Celtics, the reigning defending NBA champions. They got to the Eastern Conference Finals, somewhere they haven't been in years. They got great play from that team, whether it was Brunson, Cat at times, Bridges, you name it. He got fired today. The same guy that completely outcoached the Boston Celtics. The same guy that bounced the Celtics from the playoffs. The guy that may have forced the Celtics to make drastic changes to their franchise. That guy got fired today. So although it might not be a great look for the New York Knicks right now, I think it's an even worse look for the Boston Celtics. They lost to that guy who got fired. Another coach of the year goes down. This is why at least people want to consider moving on from Joe Mazzulla. I'm open to it. I think he should be back. But I'm at least open to the idea of the Celtics making calls. But the guy that I think they should get as an upgrade might be one of the favorites to go to the New York Knicks. I'll say this too. I don't think the New York Knicks make this move today without knowing who's taking over. And anyone who listens to this show, I've had Tom Thibodeau fired for a month. The day Mike Malone got fired from the Denver Nuggets, I said he's going to be the head coach of the New York Knicks. We looked it up. He's from there. He is clearly the best coach available. I think the Celtics should even make a call just to listen. Hey, how you doing, Mike? What do you think of Boston? Hey, you like the clam chowder? North Shore beefs? What do you like? Just make the call. I think the New York Knicks are doing that. The reasoning for firing Tom Thibodeau was because they want to be in a better position to win a championship. That's the same guy they just gave a 3-year extension to. They fired him today, the guy that beat the Boston Celtics. So as much as it's a bad look for a lot of New York Knicks fans, this looks way worse for the Boston Celtics. Your thoughts, 617-779-0985. We'll get more into the Red Sox. Brian Bayo's on the mound. There's some Celtic stuff. Patriots as well. We're doing everything tonight. We're here till 11 o'clock. I'm Joe Murray. You're listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
hope is an NBA championship. This is a team that obviously has talent. Jalen Brunson, Karl-Anthony Towns, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby. They feel like they need a new voice, and that's what the decision was made today by Knicks ownership. James Dolan, Leon Rose informed Tom Thibodeau today that he has been let go as head coach.
Early on in the first inning once again, so just wanted to bring those up to you because we don't have a lot of time before the game starts, but let's see what happens in that inning. You just heard Shams. That's Shams Charania. And the New York Knicks have fired Tom Thibodeau after their best run in 25 seasons. The deepest run they've had in 25 years, and they fired their head coach today. They also knocked off the reigning defending NBA champion Boston Celtics. This decision comes 3 days after New York was ousted from the Eastern Conference Finals by the Pacers, who's one of their longtime rivals. It also comes after New York advanced further than anybody thought. Thibodeau, who surpassed Pat Riley earlier this season to rank 4th on the franchise list of victories for the New York Knicks, well, he's led them to back-to-back 50-win seasons for the first time since 1995. He's been the club's most successful coach over the last 2 decades. He signed a 3-year extension with the team just last summer. The quote, ultimately, we made the decision we feel is best for our organization moving forward. Tom will always be part of the Knicks family. We truly wish him nothing but the best in the future. Thibodeau really did have some history with New York. You know, going back to the 90s, he was an assistant under Jeff Van Gundy. And I believe Jalen Brunson and Rick Brunson was like Thibodeau's assistant way back when, whatever. What does New York do going forward here? I think this is a surprising move, but again, why am I surprised? I did think after beating the Celtics he'd be back. And I already told you, I had him fired. I had the Celtics beating the Knicks and blah, blah, blah. I thought Mike Malone was already the guy. Now, there are some complaints about Thibodeau as well. He's a hard coach. He's known for playing his starters big minutes. They want to go towards more of a load management era, right? He leaned heavily on that starting 5. I thought it was something that would get to the Celtics. It didn't. Maybe it slowed down against the Pacers. But let's not forget, Tom Thibodeau has had a few stops. He was with the Bulls and got them to the playoffs, right? He was with the Minnesota Timberwolves before New York. I mean, the guy's got a .580 career win percentage. It's the highest win percentage of any coach without a finals appearance. How about that? So is that the thing about Thibodeau? Good coach, good assistant, good defensive-minded coach, can really work you hard, but won't get you to a finals? Ooh. I never thought about that. Could that be the perception around the league? Now, the things I brought up about the Celtics, New York signs him to an extension. He beats the Celtics, as you know. He gets them to a spot against a rival. Now, I can understand as an owner, and I'm not here to tell you that Dolan's this great owner. But, man, they got Karl-Anthony Towns. They got Mikal Bridges. They brought a bunch of guys together. Like, they went in this year. They wanted to compete with the Celtics. They did. The franchise itself, people laugh at. The franchise themselves, you wonder, why do people boast about the New York Knicks? They're not going to win anyways. It's kind of what happened in this series. They did have a shot, but they blew game 1, right? Like, if you really look at it, did Thibodeau get out-coached? I'll say yes. Do I think that game 1 loss was bad? Yeah. Can we relate that now to the Celtics, please? The Celtics won a championship. They had a really easy path. Now, I'm not saying that to say, oh, they had an easy path. No, they beat who's in front of them. They smoked everybody. The Celtics played a style that nobody could compete with. They doubled down on it this year. and the margins were too close. They continued to keep shooting threes, but when it actually came to changing the way you have to play to win, the Celtics didn't do that. And Tom Thibodeau put them in a really tough spot to do that. And he absolutely outcoached Joe Mazzulla. I just think, as far as New York signing him to an extension, firing him after beating the Celtics and getting the Eastern Conference Finals, it's not the greatest look for that organization. But who's it look worse for? The Celtics. The Celtics lost to that team. All because they wanted to believe in their strategy and doubled down on it. And when it came to actually adjusting, or when it came to actually coming down to just the little things, the Celtics blew it. You could make the argument that the Celtics this year had maybe a better roster. Maybe a better roster. It's completely disappointing the way the Celtics lost this year. And now, Tom Thibodeau, who beat them, got fired, but that's the same guy responsible for the Celtics not going for back-to-backs this year. The same guy responsible for the Celtics to maybe change their whole entire organization. They're losing executives. They're losing coaches. They're going to be losing players. They're going to be without Jason Tatum next year. They have a new owner coming in. Because of Tom Thibodeau. Because of the New York Knicks. It's a bad look for you, Celtics. It's a bad look. Skaz, you got anything to add on this? Because I don't think it's the greatest look for the New York Knicks, but it sounds like they need another voice in the room. And after giving them an extension, they're ready to move on. The same guy they're moving on from is the same guy that beat the Celtics. So who does it look worse for? New York or Boston? It's the Celtics.
Yeah, I mean, we've said it was a choke job by the Celtics. They should have never lost that Knicks team, minus 800, minus 900 favorites, whatever they were. I don't really understand the criticism of the Knicks for this move. Maybe the timing a little quick, but that's what you do. You had Tibbs fired, I don't know, 2 months ago, Joe, a month and a half before the playoffs even started. You had Tibbs fired as soon as Malone was fired in that last week of the season. You had Mike Malone getting that job, which I think is a realistic possibility. It seems like there's a lot of smoke around Johnny Bryant as well. I've seen him as the favorite in a couple places. So I'm with you. I think it's a bad look for the Celtics. You got out-coached, you got out-worked, out-hustled, everything in that series by a guy who was fired, 2.5 weeks later, or something like that. So you never want to be the team who gets eliminated from the playoffs, and the team that eliminated you from the playoffs is firing their head coach after he beat you, especially as the defending champs. I think if you told a lot of Knicks fans that they were going to beat the Celtics in the playoffs, even media members, they would have said, well, that's got to guarantee Tibbs another year. So I want to give the Knicks credit for identifying that they don't think Tibbs is the guy. And I think you could argue that what Tibbs did in New York, no one else. I mean, you can't even really argue what he did in New York is better than anything anyone else has done over the last 25 years since he got there. They've gotten incrementally better every year. He seems to work with those guys, but you look at the roster and you look at the way Tibbs wants to coach. He runs guys into the ground. Brunson, Cat, maybe it seemed like from the reports coming out that they were in on the meetings. James Dolan was at the end of season meetings, and the players came in, and after hearing numerous players maybe take some shots at Tibbs, that it was time for him to go. So I give the Knicks credit for saying, hey, we were this close. He's not the guy. They could be wrong. They could be right. Look at the Chicago Bulls. They've won 3 playoff games since they fired Tibbs.
Timberwolves obviously got an impact player, but
yeah,
they've gone to 2 finals and lost.
I think Finch is a good coach. So the grass isn't always greener, but if the Knicks have Mike Malone or Johnny Bryant lined up and that's their guy, then you make the move. I'd rather my professional sports team be decisive than waver. And this was a decisive move. They said Tibbs is not the guy, and they moved on.
I agree with that. Do you think he's the reason why they lost against the Pacers?
No. I think he could have done more to help them beat the Pacers, but I don't think he's the reason they lost. I think
maybe game one was on him. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. But I think Cat defensively, Brunson defensively,
I gave you the numbers. All the guys didn't shoot. They shot against the Celtics. And I don't want to make this a Celtics discussion, but the Celtics didn't shoot well against them either. It is a make-miss league, but you're right. Cat got dominated by Siakam and Turner. The other thing is, you mentioned who is the leading?
Johnny Bryant and Mike Malone.
Who? Johnny Bryant? Who is that?
You're not familiar with Johnny Bryant, Joe?
Could you give me some intel on Johnny
I
Bryant?
believe right now he's a Kenny Atkinson guy. So he was the associate head coach of the Knicks in 2020 when they fired. I don't even remember who they fired in 2020, but he's a guy that's been around for a while. He started one of these sports academies that like Paul Millsap and Damian Lillard went to, and then he got hired by the Jazz when Quinn Snyder was there. So he's got a good pedigree, a Quinn Snyder guy, Kenny Atkinson guy. He was with the Jazz for a bit. Knicks, associate head coach in 2020, and last year he was hired again by Kenny Atkinson to be the Cavs associate head coach. So he's a guy that's been around for a while. Apparently, the Knicks really like him. Identified him as in 2020 as a guy that they'd like. He was basically Tibbs' associate head coach from 2020 to 2024. So he's a guy that was in their system. They really liked him. He left. Maybe, I don't want to say, there was a little nepotism going on in the Knicks coaching ranks.
Really?
Well, Jalen Brunson's dad's like their lead assistant now. So, that could be interesting going forward. But he is a rising star. I believe he's viewed as one of the favorites for the Suns head coaching job or other head coaching job. So if they want him, they had to fire Tibbs and basically be aggressive. So I think Mike Malone is the safer option.
Yes.
But if Johnny Bryant's their guy, I give them credit.
If they got Johnny Bryant as the guy, they're taking a leap of faith. I'll have to back them on that. I don't agree. But in my brain, right? New York Knicks coaches.
You could say that's a Joe Mazzulla-esque move, though, right?
Absolutely. Are they now going to go analytics? Like, is that what? Because maybe the point about him playing the guys too much, and with the now the league emphasizes on days off, but in my brain, Mike D'Antoni, Mike Woodson, Derek Fisher, I'm trying to think of like coaches the Knicks have had. Jeff Hornacek was there for a little while. David Fizdale, if you remember.
I did not remember
Mike
Fizdale.
Miller was the coach before Tom Thibodeau. Do you know what I mean? Like, this was the best coach they've had probably since D'Antoni, right?
And Kurt Rambis was there in 2016.
Kurt Rambis was there?
2016.
That's a laughable franchise.
He was in between Fisher and Hornacek.
But, like, that's laughable. See, the Celtics found Ime Udoka, and he was a damn good coach. Right? We all agree Ime, good coach?
Yeah, good coach. I would give Ime a good coach.
Mazzulla was thrown into a situation. So the difference between the Mazzulla and your Johnny Bryant guy, Johnny Bryant's at least been, on the front row.
Well, did you say the Celtics found Udoka? I know that's a little tongue-in-cheek. He was a Pop guy. He was with Popovich for 7 years or whatever. So.
He was one of his lead assistants and was with Brooklyn, and they loved it. He was one of the top candidates. I got you. I'm just saying the Mazzulla finding was all Brad. It was all Brad. Brad said Mazzulla was going to be the guy. Nobody complained. They moved on. But their best coach was probably Mike D'Antoni. So the odds are out for the next New York Knicks head coach. Per Bet Online, Mike Malone is the favorite. The next favorite is Jay Wright, former Villanova coach. Jeff Van Gundy's on this list, 6-1. What was your buddy's name again? Johnny Bryant, 40-1.
Danny Hurley on that list?
9-1. We've been talking about UConn playing at MSG in Boston so much, right? I mean, I won't dismiss the Dan Hurley thing. You know why? He turned down the Lakers job. Would you rather the Lakers or the Knicks? I'd go Lakers all day. It's kind of hard. I don't know. It'd be a hard sell to me. But for Dan Hurley, Rhode Island, UConn, New York Knicks, he's not going to be the Celtics head coach, is he?
I hope not.
I really hope not.
Yeah, I hope not.
Mike Malone's the guy. And if I may, you know I like to reach every once in a while, guys.
A couple reaches here and there.
I want everybody to hear this one. The New York Knicks need to change their roster. Tweaks here and there. Some of the big names you're going to hear about that could be available are Giannis, Kevin Durant. Maybe, we'll hear about the Spurs guys and the young Rockets players and, maybe Devin Booker. Like, I'm just throwing out names, okay?
I heard Devin Booker is involved in the head coaching search for the Suns,
okay.
So he may be the guy that they are not moving on
And
from.
they're down to two former Cavs, or two Cavs assistants?
Johnny Bryant being one of them.
Okay. Mike Malone. This is a reach. If New York wants to be serious and wants an upgrade over Karl Anthony Towns, Mike Malone could get you Nikola Jokic. It's a long shot, everybody. This is sports radio, and I'm giving hot takes. So if Awful Announcing wants to pick it up, go ahead. Hire Mike Malone. Go after Jokic. Jokic has 1 year left at like $56 million and a player option for $63 million. That's his contract. He doesn't have to pick up that player option. There's a lot of rumors about him leaving Denver and going to the Lakers. He likes Luka. Mike Malone's boy is Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, but is he Nikola Jokic's boy? Are you the Denver Nuggets firing Nikola Jokic as head coach if you don't
remember the MVP candidacy?
Exactly. That's why I'm saying.
Who made the pitch for Nikola Jokic though?
Not Mike Malone.
Publicly, it was Mike Malone.
No, Mike Malone said SGA is the MVP.
But he said didn't he say he voted for him though?
Oh, I don't know. I saw him taking shots.
He said he thought it was okay. See, I thought it was differently.
I took it as this guy.
Is two different thoughts here. I thought he was making the pitch for SGA being the MVP, but he voted for Jokic.
Well, if you really want people to believe in your vote, make the pitch for Jokic would be what I would say to that.
All I'm trying to say is Mike Malone could get you Jokic. It's New York. He can bring his horse. Bring him to New York. Street meet galore. Get him out of Denver. Go to New York. You want to compete. Everyone talks about how hard the Western Conference is. Giannis should stay in the East because the West is so hard. What if Jokic left the West and went to New York? And it was because they fired Tom Thibodeau for Mike Malone. It's a real possibility. It's real. I'm telling you it's real. Now, if you want to say Giannis might be more easier, give me a trade scenario for that one. Because it won't match apples to apples. It won't. I understand you might want to go young. I understand the league is going analytic. Don't screw this one up. And because I want the Celtics to go get Mike Malone personally. But you know what, New York Knicks fans? I'm telling you this. Get Mike Malone and try to go get Nikola Jokic. It's the only shot you have. You sent all your assets to get Mikal Bridges. Go get your asses to go get Mike Malone to go get the big boy. That's my take. Anything else down here?
Always bet on the fat baby, Joe.
Always.
Just one Tibbs stat for you. Playoff wins for the Knicks' last 13 coaches before Tom Thibodeau. 7 wins for their last 13 head coaches combined. Tom Thibodeau, 24 playoff wins as Knicks head coach. So just the grass isn't always greener, but I respect that the Knicks made a decision. They feel like they've identified a guy and they're trying. I'll give them credit for that, but just look at the Bulls. Like it's not always the best option.
Imagine Nikola Jokic in New York.
He wouldn't care, though. That's the thing. We would care. The NBA would care. Yes. But Jokic wouldn't care.
All that matters is us, guys. Please. Nikola Jokic in the East in New York and the Celtics who lost because of their philosophy and the intangibles. The best coach available is on the market, and you're keeping Joe Mazzulla. And now New York could just go and get him with the potential of recruiting Nikola Jokic. Oh, get your popcorn, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, this is going to be a hell of an NBA free agency. I can't wait. But the Giannis stuff, I don't think he's in the mix. I don't think I know this is crazy, but the New York Knicks don't have what it takes to get Giannis, but somehow, yes, my crazy take is that the Knicks can somehow get Nikola Jokic. Somehow they can. They can make the money work. I don't think Milwaukee wants anything New York has. We'll leave it there at 617-779-0985. More on this as we'll hit the headline here. I'm Joe Murray, 98.5 The Sports.
Essential Sports Hub headline.
Hub. You know, they spend their time here. We got Trey here with us tonight helping us out. Made the graphic for those that saw it on I'm Joe Murray on Instagram or on Twitter, at Joey Murr. But our old interns always come back. They always come back. But the NBA Finals are this weekend. They start on Thursday, sorry. And while the Oklahoma City Thunder are in the finals, our very own Bryson. What the hell? And then our other intern, Josh Barbara.
There you go.
Huge New York Knicks fan, right? Remember he was here during the what call is that? Remember he did a final call of the game live on the air?
Yeah. Well, it might have been their first round matchup.
Yeah, it might have been. Yeah, that's what exactly. There was the game winner that Brunson closed out the series. That's right. He has some reaction regarding the New York Knicks, so they're going to call in the 9 o'clock hour. How about that? Sources on the ground kind of situation. We could go call people in New York. You know, we could go do that, but I could stick my head up a bull's ass, but wouldn't you rather take the butcher's word for it? 617-779-0985. I see our friends in YouTube right now. We got 94 people watching. Brokerage Babe, Brother Bluto, Russ Fox. Who else we got in there? All our friends, Nations. Carrie Ann, what's up, Carrie Ann? Russ Fox, I already said him. You're all hanging out tonight, and certainly love to hear your takes. My take is the New York Knicks should go hire Mike Malone. Hire him. He's the best coach available. And if they don't hire him, the Celtics should hire him. But my New York Knicks angle for Mike Malone is you can get Nikola Jokic. 1 year remaining plus a player option. You could work out the money with Denver. You can give him an extension. They can do it. Kevin Durant probably doesn't work. Giannis definitely doesn't work. So I just want to throw that out there when you mention, oh, what about this guy for the Knicks and that guy? Jokic. Mike Malone. Jokic. Package deal, baby. Skaz, you said something off the air to me that I thought was really funny. What's the tenure of the other coaches in New York these days compared to Tom Thibodeau?
I was going to say, isn't it kind of interesting that Brian Daboll and Aaron Boone have outlasted Tom Thibodeau in New York? Guys who, you know, I know Daboll wasn't handed exactly, you know, the best roster, but he's, I would say, been a massive failure for the Giants. And Aaron Boone has an incredible roster, I would say, most years and disappoints on a yearly basis, but bring him back. So the Knicks are being more proactive than the New York Yankees.
The Yankees did go to the World Series last year and had the MVP. Should they have fired him?
Yes. Aaron Boone stinks. Still pissed at him.
By the way, I know.
For 03.
I know. But the thing with Boone was he was never a manager before. Right? Didn't he come out of the booth and just became the manager?
It sounds kind of like head coach of the Celtics, Joe.
Oh, just was on the third row, Joe? Was that what he was? Brian Daboll, very decorated record, right? Because you know, people, the Josh McDaniels thing, people...
Well, he was the one that fixed Josh Allen, right?
And then became the head coach of New York, and, well, he hasn't fixed Daniel Jones. Can he fix Russell Wilson? By the way, Tommy DeVito was in town over the weekend. He was with Hooch.
Tommy Cutlets.
He was also with...
Stopping in the North End?
They were more like Newton, but they were. He was with his agent as well.
Oh,
Sean Stiletto.
Yes. So how could I forget the outfits? Yes.
They were in town this week. I got the invite. Did you know that?
Yeah, they rubbing elbows with Tommy Cutlets, Joe.
It's funny because Hooch told me about it, and he goes, "Do you think I should go get some cutlets?" And I was like, well, if Tommy Cutlets is coming, don't you think you should have cutlets? So it was a long debate. I don't think there was cutlets, though, in the long run. And I didn't go, so. Someone is tweeting at me, at Joey Murr. Would you rather Malone or Mazzulla? Malone. I'm not anti-Joe Mazzulla. I mean, I love Mazzulla ball. But I think they doubled down on it this year, and it cost them.
A couple of guys who went to high school in Rhode Island.
That's right.
Mike Malone, yeah.
I just wanted to give you some of the other potential people that I just saw this from Sports Illustrated. 4 potential replacements for Tom Thibodeau. Number 1, Mike Malone. Number 2, Mike Budenholzer. I can see Coach Bud there for some reason.
Woof.
Retread.
Tibbs is a better coach than Budenholzer, wouldn't you say? I mean, I know Budenholzer won a title, but I still think Tibbs is a better coach.
But remember how we said weird perception? The weird perception of Thibodeau is he's got the most wins without going to a final. Budenholzer's won a championship, right? With the Bucks? That's another angle.
Oh, yeah. The hire him, you get Giannis back. Here we go. Yeah, do people not remember that Phoenix Suns stint for Budenholzer? That didn't exactly go well.
Got paid very well.
Certainly him and Monty Williams, cash and checks.
What about Taylor Jenkins?
He's a name who I was, texting some people today. That's a name that I feel like has kind of flown under the radar. I don't think he's going to be the Knicks head coach. I don't know if
he got a raw deal.
Yeah.
Mike Malone did too. But the reason why Malone got fired is because they got rid of both the GM and the coach. So, instead of getting one, they got rid of both. I kind of agree with that approach. Here's the other one. Sam Cassell. Who did we talk to? Was it Brian Barrett? We talked to Brian Barrett last night who goes, how is nobody interviewing this guy? But, legitimate contender, veteran laden, won a championship, was on the bench for a championship. He's never been a head coach before. I mean, he's got the marbles, Still a defensive-minded coach. Who's are there better options, you think? I think there are.
I mean, I've seen some crazy ones float around. Jason Kidd is one I've seen floated to the Knicks that he could leave Dallas. I don't really see that happening. Some CBS guy tweeted that Chris Paul should be the next head coach.
I saw that. Do you know that?
I mean, if you want a guy who can't win titles, Chris Paul is your guy. You want a guy that's going to disappoint you late in the season. There's your guy.
If they said in an interview, we wanted to move on from Thibodeau to win a championship, Chris Paul's not your guy.
Yeah, it's like you bring in Doc Rivers and Chris Paul. They go hand in hand if you want to blow a 3-1 lead.
No on Doc. No on Steve Nash. No on John Calipari. No,
for us, that would be tremendous.
Oh, my God. I'm no on D'Antoni.
No.
Mark Jackson, I'm a no on. Mike Brown, although good guy. No. He's won a championship, but no. What about Rick Brunson?
Joe. Come on. You're going to make Brunson's dad the head coach? That's where, if that happened, that's worse than the Lakers drafting. I think the Lakers made a good draft pick in Bronny, but that's a story for another day. That is way more nepotism than Bronny being drafted if Rick Brunson's the head coach of the Knicks.
Nepotism in the NBA. I'm just reading you the list based off Bet Online. So the other name is Chris Quinn, who was Jazz? The hell was he before?
I'm thinking Quinn Snyder was with the Jazz.
That's what I'm thinking of. I don't know why I even went there. Anyways, he's actually got the third best odds, though. He's with Miami. He's the, the top assistant for Spoelstra. That one's interesting.
It's a guy you want to learn from. Spoelstra's a good coach.
Analytically driven, probably.
He's been with the Heat since 2014 as well.
It's funny. One of the New York guys mentioned, I wonder if the majority of Knicks fans would be open to the idea of Chris Quinn. And he's been with Spo for 10 seasons.
It's a long time.
Probably ready.
And he played for the Spurs very briefly, so he's been around good coaching for a long time.
All right, let's see. Justin and Lynn, what's up, bud?
Hey, Joe. I just have some concerns that I wanted to tell you about. The Stefon Diggs not being cleared for practice, that is kind of concerning. And I read a report today that he probably won't be ready for week 1. I don't know if you read the same report.
I don't know if I did. What's the report?
Yeah. I'm just a little concerned about that.
All right, buddy. Well, we're all concerned about Stefon Diggs. Ooh, I have a Stefon Diggs take I want to get to. I don't think I've done there's layers to it. I got another layer for Josh McDaniels, and it involves Stefon Diggs. We got to take a break. This hour of the sports was brought to you by John Sewer and Drain Cleaning. Over 50 trucks on the road because your clogged drain is their emergency. Go to johnsewer.com. I'm Joe Murray. We'll talk to you after the headline. 3-1. It was 0-0, but Brian Bayo hit the eighth guy, and then, well, he walked the 9-hitter, and then they threw the ball all over the place. But they did just score. Now Rafael Devers is at the plate. Tom Thibodeau's out. The New York Knicks fired him. They now are going in a different direction. They want to win a championship. Who will be the next head coach? We're going to talk about it all night long. Cole Strange signed his new rookie deal. 4 years, $43 million with the Patriots. And C.J. Stroud, OTAs, shoulder injury. Davis Mills warming. Headlines. They are brought to you by Premier Basement Waterproofing. 11 straight weekends of rain or more coming this weekend. So what are you waiting for? Call our guys at Premier and get waterproof so you never worry again. 844-LIVE-DRY or premierbasement.net. It's game over for water. I'm Joe Murray. Your next update soon.
Boston's best sports talk. There's an app for that. Download the Sports Hub app for loads of stuff. Absolutely free. Connect with the shows, get podcasts, and more. Get it where you get your apps. Or at 985sportshub.com.
We'll do some Patriot stuff coming up in a bit. We'll talk to Henry McKenna of Fox Sports. He'll be joining us in 15 minutes or so. Get his thoughts. He talked to Josh McDaniels yesterday. So you know how I feel about that. But the Joe Murray research team has been listening. And they went out of their way to feed me some more Josh McDaniels fire. I love that. People are like, hey, Joe, I agree with you on McDaniels. So just so people understand the take, because it's really hard to talk to Patriots fans about this, Josh McDaniels, who's been out of the league for a couple of years, who got fired mid-season for the second time, and everybody smoked victory cigars and hated working with him, is now the new offensive coordinator of the New England Patriots. And my take is, I have questions if he's the right fit for Drake May. Let me say this first. I don't think Drake May needs Josh McDaniels. I'll start there. Second of all we've heard from camp is it's been bumpy and yesterday though, 14-16, Drake May, Josh McDaniels will be good in spite. Sorry, Drake May will be good in spite of Josh McDaniel. In spite of him. Now, is Josh McDaniels a highly decorated offensive coordinator who's won multiple championships? Absolutely. And he's only done it with Tom Brady and with Bill Belichick. Every time he left those two guys, he's failed. 3 times, by the way. Fired twice midseason, once worst offense in football. Now, Patriots fans will say, well, all offensive coordinators struggle. Look, you mentioned who's the coach in New York? This guy that you mentioned, Daboll?
Brian Daboll.
Oh, did you see Brian Daboll's numbers with the Bills? But then you put him with the Giants, and of course he's going to stink. This is what Patriots fans do. Patriots fans can't have a healthy conversation regarding Josh McDaniels. The fact is, Josh McDaniels was fired from his last job. Nobody interviewed him for an offensive coordinator job. No one. But now he's working with Drake May. And everybody's okay with it. Except for me, damn it. Skaz, I think, feels the same way. I know Lifshatz does. I was with him this weekend. But can I give you a little bit more fuel for the McDaniel stuff? Because last night we got into the salary cap cheating that he did. Circumventing, I should say. How about the videotaping where someone got fired? It actually was Dante Scarnecchi's kid, and he ruined his career. But in Josh McDaniels, you know how people always tell you, Skaz, Matt Castle's year. You've heard that one before? The Matt Castle year? Josh McDaniels' 2 best seasons in New England without Tom Brady, 2008 and 2021. Did you know the Patriots were a combined 21 and 12, excuse me. They were 14-0 against teams which finished the season with a losing record. Do you know what the record was against teams with double-digit wins? 3-6. Also, in those 2 seasons, they went 7-12 when they played against a team which finished 500 or with a winning record. I'm telling you, I think it's fair to question Josh McDaniels as the guy running the Patriots offense. Oh, but it's going to be better than Alex Van Pelt. Do you know that? Do we know that?
Just remind me, that Matt Castle year, Joe, who were the wide receivers on that team?
Randy Moss.
Pretty good.
Wes Welker. Would you like me to 2008?
That's it. You're stopping there. It's like Jabbar Gaffney and like
two Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Kevin Falk was pretty good, right? Wasn't he pretty?
I think that was a Sammy Morris year as well.
No, it was Welker. I think Ben Watson was pretty good, right? It was pretty good there. You know, Jabbar Gaffney, right, was on that team. My point is, can you guys be open to the idea that Josh McDaniels, who's been out of the league, who's fired, and has never won in New England without Brady and Belichick, ever, can you be open that it might not be good? Can you be open to the fact that it could disrupt Drake May's development? Can we be open or no? Skaz, can we be open to it? Because nobody else can.
I'm very open to it, Joe. How about the offensive line in 2008? Any good?
Oh, yeah.
Any good, that offensive line?
I can go over it with you if you'd like, because I have it right in front of me if you really want it. Yes, Matt Light, Logan Mankins, Dan Copen, Steve Neal, Nick Cager. Pretty good. I think they went to the Super Bowl the year before. And the AFC Championship game the year before that. And just prior to that, 2 years before, they went back-to-back Super Bowls. I would say that was a good roster, Skaz. I've been holding this one for a little bit, so I'm ready to let loose. I marinated this one last night on the way home, Skaz. Something just dropped into my brain regarding Josh McDaniels and Stefon Diggs. I didn't mention that, did I? I mentioned all the problems that Drake May could have with the new offense. New offensive coordinator, the wide receivers, the offensive line, having a new head coach. All those things. Did I mention Stefon Diggs' issues with Josh McDaniels? Can we bring up some of the wide receivers that have had issues with Josh McDaniels? How about Brandon Marshall? Remember him? The Broncos were 8-7. They were 8 and what were they? Yeah, they were 8-7. If they won the final game of the year, they would have been playoff bound. But do you know what happened? Josh McDaniels benched Brandon Marshall and didn't play in the game, and they lost. They finished 8-8 and didn't make the playoffs. Have you ever heard? Oh, you should listen. Oh, not good. Do you know how Brandon Lloyd feels about Josh McDaniels? How about Devontae Adams? Do you know about that one?
I was told that was squashed, Joe, because the Patriots were in on Devontae Adams. Remember, we were being sold that.
Oh, is that true?
I don't know if it's true, but they were selling that for a while.
He didn't come here.
Certainly not.
He didn't.
Kind of like all those head coaches for the Bruins that, I'll give you a call.
Everyone's nervous about Stefon Diggs. Everybody's nervous. Has anybody talked about Josh McDaniels and Stefon Diggs' relationship? Has anybody talked about the friction that they could have? Has anybody spoken about it? How's that good for Drake May? Like this, that's what we've talked about. So many things about Stefon Diggs. The Cardi B and the asses on the boat and the boats and Joes. I'm not even worried about Josh McDaniels and Stefon Diggs on a football field. If Drake May is not getting him the ball, whoo boy, I've been waiting on this. This could be a problem. I hope people, if we hear this anywhere else, guys, I've heard it nowhere else. If you want to have concerns about Stefon Diggs, the number one guy you should be concerned about is Josh McDaniels. Have you thought about that yet?
Of course, Joe. I mean, I'm not a McDaniels guy.
This
Certainly
guy
not.
has chirped out everybody.
Joe,
Ryan Daboll, Ken Dorsey, whoever else they bring in. Oh, you got Todd Downing's probably got chewed out too, right?
Yeah, I saw some Todd Downing clips. I wasn't loving from earlier today. But.
Who was the offensive coordinator? That was it. McDaniel's brother. How'd that one? Oh, yeah.
All right, Joe. Drake May headed into year 2. Would you rather Drake May in year 2 has Stefon Diggs on his roster or Josh McDaniels as his offensive coordinator? Not both. You got to pick one. What do you think would be more beneficial to Drake May in year 2? Stefon Diggs in the receiving core or Josh McDaniels as the OC?
Could you repeat the question again, sir? I need to think about it.
Drake May heading into year 2, Joe. I know they're both with the Patriots for now. What is a bigger beneficiary to Drake May in year 2? Stefon Diggs on the roster or his offensive coordinator is Josh McDaniels?
Stefon Diggs. And that's why I said my disclaimer was I think Drake May could be fine without Josh McDaniels. By the way, I'm being told that I said Cole Strange signed an extension. Did I say that? It was Will Campbell signed his rookie deal. If I said Cole
Joe,
Strange,
he better not be Cole Strange. The Patriots, where everyone is in a lot of trouble.
Did my mind do that, though?
You might have. I missed it, too.
Will Campbell's Cole's. I guess somebody just, you know how people are always listening.
Surprised that wasn't Jeremy Conley chirping in on that one.
Yeah. Street Team Joe is. Are you in or out on the stack from Moe's? I'm not sure what that is. Maybe we need to look into that. And Bryson, what exactly are you looking for? Bryson, just call in, buddy.
9 o'clock, Bryson.
Be yourself, will ya?
Takes, Bryson. We're looking for takes.
I'm not answering him. I just want him to show up and talk to me.
Let him toil.
All right, we're going to talk to Henry McKenna. Oh, I just wanted to throw that out there one more time. Oh, I'm so on this Josh McDaniel. Hey, listen, I will take the largest L if Josh McDaniels is the right guy for Drake May. I'll take the L, and I'll be happy as hell for the Patriots.
Hope he is, but I think it's more than fair to be skeptical.
And nobody will let me, except for you, Scott.
Joe, you can be as skeptical as you want.
No, but nobody else can even stomach the conversation.
How dare you question the great Josh McDaniels?
I was in Boston today. I spoke with people today.
Not women, people.
Not women, people. And they said, Joe, he's fine. Look what he did with Mac Jones. And I just...
You're missing the point.
Belichick was there. He doesn't have anyone to pull the leash back. He doesn't have anyone to say, you can't do this.
Mac Jones was really airing it out that year, too.
Oh, really? Yeah. They high leverage situations, let me tell you. Remember that game they didn't let him throw the ball in the wind? We should have known back then. You know,
Smelly.
Belichick knew, I'm not letting this guy blow this game. You kidding me? Henry McKenna, Fox Sports, joins us next on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
Visit the night.
Back here on 98.5 The Sports Hub, I'm Joe Murray. We've done a little bit of everything. Red Sox in action right now. We reacted to the Tom Thibodeau firing of the New York Knicks today. We talked about some replacements and how it makes the Celtics look worse. And, of course, I just did my regular Josh McDaniels offensive coordinator. Drake May doesn't need him. And I just wanted to bring to light potentially Stefon Diggs could also be an issue for Josh McDaniels. But let's talk to an expert. Let's talk to Henry McKenna. He is of Fox Sports. He's been covering the Patriots. He was down at OTAs yesterday, and he joins us here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Henry, how you doing tonight, bud?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on. Always good to be here.
You got it, man. Listen, I don't have a bias towards Josh McDaniels. What I mean by that is I hate, okay? I don't hate him. I know you had a chance to talk to him yesterday, but just where I stand is I don't think another team in the league was knocking on the door for Josh McDaniels. I think he's back. I don't think Drake May needs him. Personally, I think Mike Vrabel wanted Thomas Brown. But anyways, I can live with it. Josh McDaniels is back. You had a chance to talk to him yesterday. What do you think about him back in New England, and do you think it will work with Drake May?
I think he's a really talented coordinator. I think it's a unique situation for him because he didn't bring any of his guys. He's used to being set up, whether it was even in Denver and obviously in New England, accustomed to being surrounded by the people that he and Bill Belichick chose. And so they were very experienced in the system. McDaniels had experience and personal relationships with them. This is a very new situation. The guys that have come in are Vrabel guys. And while obviously a lot of these guys still know each other just because it's a small world in the coaching circles, they come from different systems. They run different offenses. And right now it's the honeymoon phase where things are much easier to navigate because nobody's won and lost any games, as we remember Gerard Mayo saying last year. But what will get interesting is as they have to really decide what to actually put in their playbook. That will be when things get interesting for this staff because ultimately Josh McDaniels will have the final say. But the other coaching people who want input are buddies with Vrabel. So I think that will be an interesting negotiation. Ultimately, what McDaniels said was that he's going to build an offense that highlights his players, and history shows that's exactly true. It's what makes him really good. He's willing to start not exactly from scratch, but around his core, study his plays, study his players, and make everything sort of synergistic.
I like your take on it's not his guys, right? Because every time he's left, whether it was in Denver where he failed, the Rams, which was the worst offense in the league that year, or even with the Raiders, it was always his guys. So that's a really good point. Here he's working with what he has. But I did want to bring up other receivers that have had issues with him. And you wrote a really good piece today, Fox Sports. We'll get into that in a minute here on Stefon Diggs. But Brandon Marshall, he sat him out at the end of the year once. They missed the playoffs. That didn't go well. There were guys in the Rams who were not happy with him. The Raiders, Devontae Adams, other guys like that. There have been prime receivers that haven't liked Josh McDaniels as a head coach and offensive coordinator. Do you think there could be any issues or concerns with him and his relationship with Stefon Diggs?
Yeah, I think they need to set a good foundation early. Diggs is a tough player to work with when he's one of the best receivers in the league, and it's relatively easy to work with him and get him the ball. I think he's become a little bit more complicated of a person, and I don't just mean that in terms of like he's worse, right? He's harder to deal with. I mean that he's actually just more complicated. I think that there is a sense of like, okay, he knows. Look at last year. Like he was not the same receiver from a production standpoint even before going to IR, and he was the number 2 behind Nico Collins, right? So like I think he had to have a sense on the depth chart like where he stood, and that his career is taking a turn. So I think like he's not delusional in that like he is the wide receiver 1 here in New England, but he wasn't last year, and that probably says something about where he would stand around the league as a wide receiver one, which is he wouldn't be one in every room. This is a reason why the Patriots and him were such a good match. They could actually offer that to him. So will this work for McDaniels? I think that because Diggs is number one, that helps. I think that because McDaniels is an experienced coach who's worked with all sorts of different personalities, that helps. And the question is often with these sorts of relationships is how well things can kind of go out the gate. I think like first impressions matter, especially in a league that's as ephemeral, as quick moving as the NFL is, and especially in a media climate that's frankly as critical as Boston is, where things can pile up pretty quick. And if things don't go well right out the gate, like you can bet folks on your airways and over on EEI, they're going to be talking negatively about it, and it can build a really negative environment in the locker room. They hear it. So I think that the relationship needs to start on a strong foot when Diggs does ultimately get on the field, because he might not be out there right away because of the ACL. And I think we'll get a good sense pretty quickly of whether it's going to work.
All right, we're talking with Henry McKenna over at Fox Sports. Check out his article. He's got a nice little write-up on Stefon Diggs, of course, making headlines over the last couple of days. The boat thing, I'm over it. And I think him showing up kind of shows maybe the Patriots are over it. There's still that, he has to pass a physical, Henry. So there's money on the line there. I think for the most part, yesterday showed that maybe they've put some things behind him. That's still there. But you wrote something that I'm interested in about. You mentioned Sean McDermott of the Bills at one point was concerned because he didn't show up to camp. Do you think that the Patriots had that same concern and maybe they weren't surprised or were surprised that he wasn't at OTA? I just go back to maybe some of the things that Diggs has done and what coaches have said, and the Patriots probably shouldn't be surprised by this, right?
Yeah. So I have two separate things that I'll point out here. The first thing is when Sean McDermott said that he was very concerned that Stefon Diggs was not at minicamp, it was a mandatory practice. He had to be there, and he was like, for non-contractual reasons, absent, which is very rare in the NFL for a guy to take a fine when he's not trying to get a bigger contract. I'm now a national NFL writer, but at the time I was an AFC East writer, so I was pretty dialed in on that situation, and I was talking to sources close to Stefon at the time. What was interesting was Diggs' frustrations were coming out of yet another postseason in Buffalo where he felt like they couldn't get over the edge, where they were trying to win a Super Bowl and nothing was changing, that the organization wasn't seeking new solutions. And so he was super frustrated that things weren't changing in accordance with what he wanted. That was about as specific as I could get it from the folks that were in his camp. So he was sort of demanding a meeting with McDermott and trying to get a sense of like why things would be this different this year and why things hadn't changed in the previous years with these early exits for the Buffalo Bills. So that's why he missed those practices and why that situation sort of blew up. Now, I don't think it's, apples to apples here in New England with him missing a voluntary practice where he could miss some and be there for some. Should he be in the building? I would think so. He's getting paid a lot of money. He's got to learn a new system. His quarterback's learning a new system. And New England kind of talked a game about how Diggs was going to lead the young locker room and help sort of be a mentor. I think they sort of set him up for failure in that respect. As you've referenced in my article, it was like, okay, like Stefon Diggs is a good football player who works very hard on himself. I'm not sure that putting him into a leadership role is exactly setting him up for success because he's a moody guy. Like he hits highs and lows, and like we've seen him pick fights with his quarterback on the sideline. Like, he's not a guy you want to have be your bedrock of a locker room. He's your guy you want to be your 120 yard a game receiver and be sort of like that classic mercurial receiver that produces. So, yeah, ultimately, like, that's kind of where I sit with Diggs. I don't think that they're too worried about him missing an OTA practice or two. Plus, we only see 3 that are open to the media. We don't know exactly how many he's participated in that are closed to the media. We know that he's been to at least one other, given what the pictures posted to the Patriots website.
Well, I can tell you this, Henry. I covered that team last year, and there were times where Pop Douglas was frustrated not getting the ball. Even Jalen Polk, who was a rookie at the time. So I hope that's not the case. I hope we don't see that. And really, a lot of Stefon Diggs' issues have been on the field. And what I mean by that is some of the actions you mentioned, being frustrated about playoff losses or not getting the ball from Josh Allen or even Minnesota for that matter, which I'm okay with, right? Like, if you're going to be a competitor, I'm okay with that. I do want to just transition that into Drake May. Is that my producer Skaz, he off the air said, would you rather Drake May in his second year with Stefon Diggs or with Josh McDaniels? I still think talent wins in this league. So that's why I like Stefon Diggs. But I also think Drake May can be successful without Josh McDaniels. I guess I'm on my own diatribe on that one. But you had a chance to talk to McDaniels. You talked to Ashton Grant. What were some of the things they mentioned when it came to mistakes and how Drake May is learning and changing in year 2?
Yeah, McDaniel said for the most part he's not seeing repeat mistakes from May, so that's good. I mean, May made headlines for 4 interceptions in that first open OTA session, and he's been much cleaner over the last 2 sessions, I'd say. And then I would say mostly what I talked to those 2 guys about was how the playbook is getting assembled because of the thing I mentioned at the outset, which is that McDaniels is coming in with his system, and he's got to negotiate with the other guys that are going to be in that room, the other coaches, how much of this playbook is going to be built upon what McDaniels wants to run, how much of this playbook is going to be built upon what Drake May does well, and how much of this playbook is going to be built upon what the other coaches like to run. And McDaniels and Grant said it's going to be some combination of the 3. So the question is, how is Drake May going to handle all of that? And he's entering his second year, second system in 2 years. We see a guy who was ascending late in the season, but anytime you have to learn a new system, that progression takes a regression naturally. Like, that's just how it happens when we are learners. We very rarely, when we get a promotion or when we get a new job in life, right? Like, we very rarely hit the ground running at a higher level, equal level from what we were doing in the previous role, because we need to grow first. So not only does Drake May need to figure out the NFL, but now he's got to kind of start over in relearning a new system. That's probably why we saw the 4 interceptions, a few weeks ago. But it's a good sign that he has cleaned things up, that he was making some really nice throws over the top. For example, I saw him hit Keyshawn Boutte, in the deep third. He had a ball that Ramondre Stevenson laid out to catch in a similar spot, deep third near the sideline. So, I think Drake, I get a little nervous about obsessing over him because I think sometimes people, they see what he can become and they think that's the only eventuality when really, look at what he is exactly right now, and he's a guy that's still a work in progress. So things like this can go awry. We've seen rookies like Sam Darnold had a solid season in his rookie year, and it looked so promising, similar to what's happening with Drake, and things went awry in his development. So they have to be tremendously precious, this coaching staff, with the way that they handle Drake May over the course of this year, because we've seen young quarterbacks sort of head into that second year, all of the optimism in the world and all of these dreams and imaginations of what they can be, this elite quarterback, and all of a sudden things don't go as planned. And I think, the Patriots have really put their best foot forward to bring in an experienced guy like McDaniels and a number of financial investments in the guys around Drake May and high draft picks. So let's see how that all comes together. But let's be cautious about getting a little too ahead of ourselves in thinking that like Drake May is going to be an elite quarterback in 2025. I will urge people to have some pause there when things get a little too optimistic about him.
Oh, Henry, you're rolling right into where I'm going, man. My take off. I've been on this Josh McDaniels thing for a while, and if Drake May doesn't take that big step, you know who they're going to blame around here, right?
Right.
It was Bill O'Brien. It was Matt Patricia. That's who everybody. And listen, I think we should point to it because, to be fair, Josh McDaniels hasn't been successful without Brady and or Belichick.
Right. No, I mean, it's a good point. It's crazy to see the different iterations of this Patriots team ever since ever since Tom Brady left, because there's a lot of like assumptions being made. When Tom left, that Bill would be able to succeed. When Bill left, that Gerard might be able to succeed. When Gerard left, that Mike Vrabel is going to be different and Josh McDaniels is going to be able to succeed. There has been a lot of like recycling the same material in New England, despite these sort of like rebrandings of new starts and fresh starts. Like, I do think Vrabel is a new person with a new coach, and he has made it clear he thinks he's not a part of Belichick's coaching tree, but like McDaniels is. And so I think like there is like, we haven't totally exited the echo chamber of Bill Belichick yet. It still lives on, and it will be interesting to see. I mean, I do like Josh McDaniels, to be clear. We will see. There's a lot we still don't know about him, as you point out. So we'll see how he and Drake May mesh.
He's highly decorated. There's no doubt about it. Well, I think we all have high expectations for Drake May, and I think everyone thinks Stefon Diggs is good. It's just now they got to go play games, and let's see if it works out.
Right.
Great job, Henry. Awesome stuff. Appreciate you joining us. Check out his work over at Fox Sports. You're doing it all now, huh? Not just the AFC East anymore?
I know that they got crazy. They went ahead and told me to cover all 32, and I hope I'm doing an okay job so far.
Excellent stuff, man. Appreciate you, Henry. Great job. Check out all his work, Fox Sports. Henry, appreciate you. We'll catch up down the line, bud.
Yeah, thank you. Have a great night.
You got it. He's Henry McKenna, everyone. Check out his work. He's got an excellent article on Stefon Diggs and some of the stuff from his past, and should the Patriots be concerned about that. Oh, see, listen, if you listen to that, he doesn't think Drake May is going to have the year 2 jump like everyone thinks. The team may not be that good. And Josh McDaniels. Imagine that. We'll get to the headline here. I'm Joe Murray, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Essential Sports Hub headline, presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
All right, Red Sox trail 3-1. Brian Bayo on the mound. Wow, he's in there in the 5th inning. Can you... The Sports Hub. Imagine having a national reporter, not from here, actually tell you that he doesn't think Drake May is going to take the year two leap like some people think. Oh. People that were there yesterday that have an opinion today, I love it. Oh, and Stefon Diggs could be an issue. Oh. Other coaches have been concerned about him. Oh. I love that. In or out, coming up after this. All right, Jackson's on the line. He's Trey's roommate. We have an intern, Trey. What's up? What do you got, Jackson? You got a hot take for us? Is he there? Don't tell me he got cold feet. I was waiting for this. It's one of his lacrosse bros. BU lacrosse. How'd they guys do this year? Were they all right? How'd they do? I watched the championship, but I didn't see BU there.
They lost in the Patriot League championship, is what I'm being told.
The Patriot League.
So, pretty good year.
It was a tough loss.
Jackson just doesn't want to chime in, I guess.
What up, Jackson? Well, you got him there. Did I not pot him up?
No, he's potted up.
Sorry, Mr. Jackson.
He is not for real.
Not for real. Well, that's unfortunate. I was wondering about Trey's roommate now. We don't know much about Trey. Maybe we'll have to get him on some night. We'll learn more about Trey. He goes to BU and he plays lacrosse. I've never played lacrosse before. So very, very, very interesting. Again, we'll do in or out in a little bit here. The Red Sox trail 3-1. And Tom Thibodeau got fired. The guy that beat the Boston Celtics. The guy that may have ended the Celtics championship run. The one who did. And is now out on the street. And, well, intern Josh, New York Knicks fan, on the line with us right now. What's up, Josh?
What's going on, Joe? How's everything been?
How are you? How you feeling?
I am surprised. I'm not shocked. I'm also kind of happy, all things considered. I know on the show earlier this year I had expressed the fact that I wanted Tom Thibodeau to be fired, and today it finally happened. I was at the gym when it happened. I rushed home, did an immediate reaction. Thank you for teaching me that, by the way, and we kind of went from there. But, yeah, I mean, all I really got to say is that I like the firing, mainly because Thibodeau is a culture builder. He's not a championship winner, if that makes sense. And just to go off of that, like, for instance, you know, when he was with the Bulls, right, 2010, 2011, his first year, the Bulls were mediocre before that season. All of a sudden, they went 62-20 in his first year, all right? Now, in 2020, 2021, the Knicks were the laughingstock of the NBA. The worst franchise in the NBA. David Fizdale was the head coach, and we all know the infamous screenshot of him smiling when they were down 100-69 against the Milwaukee Bucks. It's an infamous screenshot. If you're a Knicks fan, you know that. All right, Tom Thibodeau comes in. It was a shortened season due to COVID, but the Knicks go 41-31 after only having 19 wins the year before. He is a culture builder. He is not a championship caliber coach. He cannot sustain a high level of winning for a long time, and so he needed to go. And in the NBA, at the end of the day, it's a business. And the Knicks needed to make a business decision, and this was the right call going forward.
Well, you could admit they made a bad business decision by giving a 3-year extension, correct?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That was dumb.
Absolutely. But, I mean, if you go into it, I think the real nail in the coffin for Tom Thibodeau, especially this year, was game one with the Pacers. You can't leave Brunson on the bench for that long. You can't not take a timeout when Naismith starts to get hot and the Pacers start to gain momentum, because you have to be well aware of what the Pacers are capable of. And we saw it in the series against Milwaukee. Me and you did a live reaction to that one. That was a crazy game, seeing them come back. So I mean, you've seen the Pacers do it before, and you just can't let that happen. I think that was the real nail in the coffin. On top of that, just mismanaging your players. Why are you throwing in Delon Wright in the Eastern Conference Finals? The guy hasn't touched the ball or had a minute on the court the entire season leading up to that. And then you want to start being experimental in the Eastern Conference Finals and you have it all right in front of you. It's just bad decisions down the stretch, not being able to make the right decisions in key moments down the stretch in big games. And he's done it before. He did it with the Bulls, and he did it again with the Knicks. His time with the Knicks basically mirrors his time with the Bulls. 5 years, 5 seasons with each team. And it's just, I would say it's unfortunate because I'm very appreciative of what he did.
Who's taking over, bro? Who's taking over? Who's taking over,
who's taking
Josh?
over? Mike Malone. Mike Malone. I want Mike Malone. Championship caliber guy. He's won a championship recently. He was fired in April. The Nuggets were playing, pretty well. I think he's the best guy on the market right now. However, I want Mike Malone. I think they're going to go with Johnny Bryant, though. It's an internal guy. He was the assistant or associate head coach under Tom Thibodeau. He was hired by the Knicks front office because they saw a lot of potential in him. He already has a great rapport with the players, and in my opinion, he should at least be considered, and I think should be given the job. But I personally, my heart wants Mike Malone. My brain wants Johnny Bryant.
All right, dude. That's what Skaz said. So it looks like you guys are on the same page.
Yeah.
Oh, one more hot take.
Yeah.
You should want Mike Malone because he's going to get Jokic.
That's a good hot take. That is, I like that.
Tell all your friends.
I like that.
Tell all your friends I said
that. I don't want to give up Cat, though, Joe. I don't want to give up Karl Anthony Towns.
Would you? You would.
For Jokic, I would. For Jokic, I would. For Giannis, I won't. For Jokic, I would. But from what I'm hearing right now, apparently the Knicks are going to go after Giannis. And that's like the big thing right now. And in order to get Giannis, you got to give up Cat. But the way that Karl Anthony Towns played this year, and the chemistry that he already has with Jalen Brunson and the other guys that are there, and Kat being from the New Jersey area, you can't get rid of him.
Giannis is horrible fit for the Knicks because he can't shoot.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
Jokic.
I like. I know. Just keep saying it. Just keep saying it.
Thank you, sir.
I would love that.
Appreciate it.
All right. Have a good night, Joe.
You too. Take care. All right. That's one intern. Our next intern is Bryson Akins. He's now covering the Oklahoma City Thunder. We told these guys 9 o'clock, by the way. But he's on the line with us. Bryson, how are you, sir?
I'm not doing too bad. Not doing too bad right now. A little bit tired, a little bit worn out. A tornado came through in the Great Plains of Oklahoma over by my house just earlier, so getting used to that still.
What time is it your way?
7:54.
Okay.
And so I know I'm a little early. I know.
Okay. Do you want to give us a finals preview of why Oklahoma City will win and why they'll lose?
I don't have a reason for why they'll lose. I'll be honest about that part. I don't think, just looking at it, I don't see any way the Thunder lose this series. And the main reason for that is the defense. When you look at this defense from the Thunder compared to a Pacers offense, Pacers like to run through the perimeter a ton. They like to run through their guard play. Tyrese Halliburton, he is the true definition of a point guard. When you look at him in the NBA now, he's a great three-point shooter, but he's mainly a pass-first guy. He's a playmaker. He's going to get other guys involved. The Thunder thrive when your main guy is one of those pass-first playmakers. The Thunder thrive in that scenario. Another quick stat as well to prove that. Lou Dort, he truly lived up to his name, the torture chamber, when he guarded Tyrese Halliburton this year. He had 112 possessions on Halliburton. Halliburton only had 8 points.
Okay.
He only had 8 points, and he also averaged less than 15 points against Thunder. I think he averaged 11 in the 2-game series against the Thunder this season, along with like 4 turnovers. So they have his number, and if you can just shut down Halliburton from being this guy that's going to initiate the offense and try to go fast, where the Thunder also love to move fast when you look at the athletic guard play that they have, and Lou Dort, Alex Caruso, Cason Wallace, even Jalen Williams, who is an all-defensive second-team member in his 3rd season now. I just think this Thunder defense is just going to suffocate the Pacers, and I don't see any way that they take this series to 7 games. Now, with that said, I don't think it's going to be blowout after blowout after blowout. I think we'll only have 1 blowout in the series, and the rest of the games will be, come down to 3 or 4 possessions. But I have Thunder in 5, mainly because of this defense.
Who's going to win the rebounding edge? Pacers or Thunder? Because I think Turner and Siakam can beat up Hartenstein and technically Chet?
I could see that. I could definitely see that. But the thing with the rebound game right now, the Thunder are tied fourth for rebounds per game in the playoffs. And with teams that are still alive in the playoffs, they rank number one with 44 a game, whereas the Pacers, they rank 13th with 39. So I know it's not like a huge gap right there, but kind of showing that, kind of edge that the Thunder have rebounding-wise, because it's not Hartenstein and Chet that's killing you. It's, on like total rebounds. It is, Hartenstein blocking out and giving rebounds, opening up space for Caruso to fly in and grab one, for Jalen Williams to grab one, even Shai Gilgeous-Alexander coming in and grabbing a few boards here and there. That's what kills teams, kills other teams when the Thunder win the rebound battle, is because they actually box out still. They're boxing out, trying to create separation so the guards can get the rebounds. You're not seeing Hartenstein and Chet getting almost 10 rebounds a game. They're only getting around 6, and then it's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or Jalen Williams that lead the team in rebounds.
Okay. So is it going to go over 5.5 games or under 5.5 games? I
would take the under. I think it's going to go straight to 5, and I have some betting lines pulled up as well if we want to talk that. But
let's do it. No, what do you got?
So first off, for like game one, of course, I'm here with it. I would not do any of the spreads. I would not do money line. I would go under on points. Right now it's set at 231. I don't see any way, especially game one. You look at the conditions of I hate to be this guy, but the conditions the Pacers had to come to Oklahoma City in today. All right, they had to stay up in the air for around 2 hours longer than they had to.
Are you telling me there's a weather angle?
Yes, there is a weather angle here. They were flying directly into a tornado. I am not joking about this.
Okay.
They were flying directly into a tornado, and they had to land at Tulsa. They aren't even in Oklahoma City yet.
Okay.
They aren't even here yet, but that's already driving you a little bit off.
I like your strategy. Go ahead.
Yeah, and then going further into it as well, like I mentioned with the defense, Tyrese Halliburton has just struggled against the Thunder historically the past few games. I just don't see any way where his playmaking and his shooting ability is going to be on full display to kind of push them over 100 total points. I have them scoring like 92 the first game, which for this Pacers team, that's not what they do. All right, they are scoring, when I look at points per game, they rank second at 117.4. And I don't see any way in this first game specifically them going over 100. And then for the Thunder, I don't see them going over 115 total points, because I think I think game one will be the only blowout of the series. And I think it'll be getting to the point where you see all the starters rest the fourth quarter.
All right.
You see Shea sit out. You see Jalen Williams sit out, Chet Holmgren, Lou Dort, and those guys, they aren't going to be scoring a ton because of the fact that it'll be a little bit of a blowout there going into that third quarter, so you don't really need them. And it comes down to, is Isaiah Joe going to hit his shots in? He's been really streaky this series. Is Aaron Wiggins going to hit his shots? He's also been streaky. Those are the only two scorers that you really have off the bench.
Bryson, is this the best Thunder team of all time?
If they win the finals, yes, but here's the thing about it. This is the worst version of the Thunder we will see. They still have draft picks that they can use. They have 3 draft picks in next year's draft, and they don't have a roster spot to take on any rookie. So they could trade those picks and replenish them down the line to try to keep a potential dynasty going. And also, you got to think, their MVP, their best player, he's about to turn 27. Their second option, who is all-NBA third team and all-defensive second team, he's 23. Chet Holmgren's 22. This team is insanely young, and they've made the finals already. And for the people that say, oh, my goodness, the experiences are going to be the reason they lose in the finals, what experience do the Pacers have? They have the same amount of experience as the Thunder.
He's already talking dynasty, and they haven't even played game one yet. I love the optimism, Bryson. I'd just be worried about that second apron in a couple of years. That second apron might come back.
No, you guys, hey, another thing about that, everyone talks about second apron. The second apron really isn't going to affect the Thunder, because when that time comes up, yes, we have to give Shea his Supermax contract where he's going to be the highest paid player in basketball history, making almost $80 million a year. Yes.
Just a little bit of money.
That's a little bit of money, but the cap's going to increase by 10% every single year to where the regular salary cap not going into taxes, second apron, first apron will be around $190 million. It's like people that's the thing people often forget about it. And we also have guys on team-friendly contracts. Aaron Wiggins, who would be a starter on half the teams in the league, he's only making $8 million a year for the next 5 seasons. The depth is insane. The way the contracts are worked out are also insane. Hartenstein, people are saying you might want to keep him. I don't know if I want to keep him or pick up that team option yet, depending on how much Chet Holmgren's and Jalen Williams rookie extensions will be. I don't know what that's going to look like during the offseason because they are eligible for this year.
Can they win this series? That's all I care about.
Yes. They can win this series in 5.
Will they? They're going to win the series in 5? Is that what you said, Bryson? I didn't.
Yes, they're going to win in 5. You've got the under on total games played. It is not going over 5 games.
And if they lose, Bryson, how I know you said you can't envision a way. Is it Carlisle? I know Dagnall's a good coach, but there's got to be a way. I know minus 800 or whatever it is, but if the OKC was to lose, is it J-Dub's offense goes cold, Chet goes cold? There's got to be a scenario in which OKC loses the series.
3-point shooting, that's the biggest problem. So I look at it, and the fact that they rank 3rd in points per game in the playoffs right now at 117, but yet 13th for 3-point percentage at 33% is what is absurd. If they truly go cold from 3 like they have some games, and they've lost games, like the Denver series, the only reason went to 3 games is because all 3 of those losses, the team shot under 35% from 3. They shot 20% from 3 in a game they lost by 1 possession. If they can somehow figure out the 3-point shooting and just shoot it at a 35%, they will win in 5. But Indiana's, fighting chance is guard the perimeter heavy and make them take a bunch of contested threes and live with them making 2s. All right, if you can go 2 for 2 for them, you can you have a chance of winning the game. But if you give them some space on the 3-point line and they knock down 1 out of 3 3-pointers, you're going to end up losing by 20 because of how many turnovers the defense will force.
All right, Bryson. Well, we're here all week. We're here all series. So
all right, let me know. I'll come in if they lose game 1 and explain what happened. Whatever you need, betting odds, I got you. I'm looking at all of that.
I'm going to hold you to it. You know it, damn it.
All right, I know it.
All right, Bryson. This is thrilling.
All right, see you, Joe. See you, Scaz.
Congrats on your graduation.
Thank you. I'm officially a scientist of sports.
Oh. We'll go. Yeah. Hey, listen. There was one scientist is no longer with us, so I guess we could use another.
Okay.
Thanks, Bryson.
Sounds good.
I've heard of Mariah the scientist. Now we have Bryson the scientist.
He used the weather.
Joe, plane was diverted. True or false?
We're going to do a wangle? A weather angle?
A wangle. I don't know about it. I might have to get the dump button ready. But, yeah, It
was funny. While he was talking, I saw Trey just being like, yep, that's what's going to happen.
That Aaron Wiggins, not a starter in half the league. Trey's a Maryland guy here. Not a starter. Aaron Wiggins, good player. Solid. I
wonder if
player.
he knew that we had a guy from Maryland here, because I just saw him acting like, yep, that's my guy. All right, we got to go to break. Well, we heard from 2 of our interns, so you're always welcome, everybody. We'll take a break. You're listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub.
What's it?
3-3 Red Sox and Angels. Brian Bayo on the mound. Tom Thibodeau fired from the New York Knicks today. They're looking for a coach that can take them to the championship. And Will Campbell signed a 4-year, $43 million contract. It's his rookie deal. Headlines are brought to you by DN Van Lines. Take your chance out of your move. Make the sure bet. DN Van Lines, an approved mover of the Department of Defense. DNVanLines.com. It's time for In or Out.
Here we go.
Boom. I win. Kaboom.
Yeah. Hit somebody. We've got a passion for Boston sports. Get angry. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Are you in or out? Gotta know without a doubt. I'm the one you need for a dirty deed. I'm the best. Success is guaranteed. Just so everybody knows, hey guys, call any time between 9 and 9:50. What did they do? They should be like, it's 8:50. What do you think Joe's doing right now? None of that popped in their head?
No.
8:50?
Of course
in or
not.
out? No?
No.
Why do I think like that? Because I'm considerate of other
The NFL. Done a lot of NFL talk. You put something in Slack earlier today. PFF, everyone's favorite NFL site, released their list of the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL, and Christian Gonzalez was not on the list. Joe Murray, are you in or out on Christian Gonzalez not being a top 10 corner in the league?
Doesn't affect me whatsoever. So I'm out. Don't you think he needs to do more?
Yes.
I think this should motivate him. So I'm in on the fact he's not on the list? Or, yeah, I'm in on the list. Oh, and you know people got pissed about this one, right?
Oh, I'm sure. Same people that are defending McDaniels.
Christian Gonzalez. Well, he got smoked by Stefon Diggs last year.
And maybe Diggs can help him out.
Maybe he can learn a little something. Then he'll be top 10.
All right, Joe, we'll head to the NBA for this one. The Orlando Magic have undergone a rebrand, a new logo, and their new jerseys, but throwing it back, Joe. They're going back to the pinstripes, all white, all blue, and then an alternate. It's kind of like I think it's a little black and white for their alternate jersey. I think they look tremendous. Joe Murray, are you in or out on the Magic rebrand?
And I had a pair of Orlando Magic shorts when I played basketball for BNBL in Boston. That's the Boston Neighborhood Basketball League, Trey. I'm not sure if you know about that, but inner city kids get to have their own team, go against other kids in the city, and you play at different parks. And damn right, I had the Orlando Magic shorts, and I had a Shaq jersey. I was in on the Magic.
You're more Shaq over Penny?
Hey, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, Skaz. You ever heard of that before?
Yeah, that was Michael Scott and Wayne Gretzky said that.
Right,
yeah.
both of them. The Commonwealth Massachusetts Bartend Stamp.
All right, Joe, we'll end with this one tonight because I'm sure people will be thrilled to hear this. Joe, but Netflix is launching AI-generated ads by 2026, designed to match the show or movie being watched. Some will appear as mid-roll ads or during pause breaks. Will roll out to all countries with the ad-supported tier. Joe Murray, are we in or out on AI ads on Netflix?
Out. And this is going to be inappropriate. I don't want anyone to think I'm like a creep.
No, boy.
But I don't, there's AI porn. And
out. I'm out on AI, Joe.
I don't want anything to be artificial. Well, we're here till 11 o'clock tonight, everybody. And I was just going to mention something. That's getting a little interesting. We're still waiting on some potential news regarding who would be the next head coach of the New York Knicks. But today from Mass Live, where could Kristaps Porzingis realistically land in a trade this offseason? This is from our good friend Brian Robb over at Mass Live. Porzingis, 29 years old. He is due $30 million. So what do? Well, there's salary matching limitations. Unless the Celtics send Porzingis into an open cap space, they'd have to, of course, attach draft capital and other assets. But Brooklyn would be one of those teams. Now, who would be some playoff teams to consider? The Pistons. Isaiah Stewart, he's a big. Fonteco and whatever. Clippers, Bogdanovich, Eubanks, Christie. Lakers, Gabe Vincent, Max Kleber, Shake Milton. The Rockets are a wild card team. Dylan Brooks, low-cost player. How about the Utah Jazz? They sent back Jordan Clarkson and KJ Martin and Svi Mikhailuk. The Blazers could send back Robert Williams and Thibault.
Thibault.
I know. Thibault goes west. I like that move, even though Robert Williams is unfortunately unreliable.
There's another big guy you can rely on.
So Brooklyn has the assets. Kings. DeRozan? I don't think they can go with another wing.
I was going to say him and Jalen. I don't know if that.
Do you want Nurkic? I don't. Would you want Terry Rozier? You know what I always have said is going to happen is Kevin Love's going to end his career with the Celtics. I've said that for 15 years.
How many minutes did Kevin Love play this year?
For 15 years, I've been saying it. So can I say it again?
Yeah, I remember him and Rondo in the Monster.
At the Monster, exactly. Oh, I was here that day. I remember when that happened. Bulls. Zach Collins. Kevin Huerter can shoot, right? That's not a bad deal. Now the Bulls stink.
Because they fired Tibbs.
That's right. Well, the Magic, would they want Porzingis?
I mean, they need a guy that can shoot.
Are any of the? Would you take those deals?
The Pistons deal I would do. I don't know if the Pistons would do that. Beef Stew's an interesting guy. He's high motor, gets some rebounds. He's not very good. I mean, he's okay, but he's a big man that can grab some boards for you. He's a little smaller than people think he is. I don't think he's a 7-footer, so I wonder if that limits him defensively. But out of those deals, I think that's the one that probably interests me the most.
Well, plenty of good teams around the league could use a stretch big like Porzingis. He's got an expiring deal.
Yeah, the problem with Isaiah Stewart, just looked it up, he's 6'8", so he's kind of short.
He's a true 4.
Yeah.
But, they might need a little bigger than
And
that.
he doesn't play offense. He did try and fight LeBron once, though, so I'm sure Celtics fans will love that.
Oh, yeah. All right, well. Oh, I saw something else today that was fairly interesting regarding Porzingis. I'll find it. But I think there's value around the league for him personally. That expiring deal, somebody might want that. Oh, on the other side, can we play Mad Dog? Oh, no, was it Chris Russo? My bad.
Oh,
Mad Dog. Same guy.
What?
Hey, it's two guys,
You
right?
just confused me.
I know. Can we hear Mad Dog?
Chris Mad Dog Russo.
Yes, him. He's one person. Sometimes he's two.
That guy who likes his edibles.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I can't get enough Mad Dog, so we'll happily play Mad Dog after this.
We'll give you some Mad Dog coming up after the headline.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
All right.
Sports Hub.
And everybody knows, who follows, who sees, who watches the NBA, knows if Anthony Towns or OG make a free throw, or if God didn't let the ball bounce in with Halliburton's 3 or 2 at the end of game 1, the Knicks would have won that series. But this is about Dolan. Don't let anybody hear you. Don't let anybody in America hear you say, this is Leon Rose. Nonsense. Nonsense. Rose and Thibodeau are tight. He's his agent. This has got nothing to do with, you think Rose wanted to fire Tom Thibodeau after he got to a conference final? But Rose doesn't have any power there. Dolan does. He sits on the baseline with a dopey hat on, thinking that he knows something about, but he wouldn't even know who George Mikan is. He knows nothing. He's there because his old man was a brilliant businessman, and he took over. That's what this is all about. Oh, my God. It's the guy that ran Marv Albert out of the building. Can't figure out a way to get Oakley straightened out and get him back in the good graces of the franchise. What a joke. You know what? Here's what I want. You know, this is such a ridiculous and such a stupid firing. Have Dolan have the... First off, he's awful when he talks because he fumbles. He doesn't come clear. Oh, he's terrible. He's not what you think of when you have an executive. But have him... I don't want to hear from Rose. Rose be the bag man. I don't want to hear from Rose. Everybody knows that Rose had nothing to do with this. This is Dolan. Have Dolan sit there and get peppered with questions by legitimate media people, not guys who work, and I'm not saying they're not legitimate, but they're in a difficult situation, not the guys who work for MSG. Let him have a press conference for, I don't care if it takes 6 hours, and everybody has a chance to go and ask him a why. Because this is not fair. This is not fair, what they did to this guy, who gave his life and blood to the franchise and took him to the conference. I haven't been there since 2000. My God almighty. And you get him out because you lost a rugged 6-game series to Indiana? Oh, come on, please. What a disgrace.
Sweat and tears.
Disgrace.
It's the owner. It's the owner. Yeah, he is Mad Dog. He's Mad Dog. I love that reaction. That's good. How's Spike feel about it?
Haven't heard from Spike.
Haven't heard. Well, it's Stephen A. We heard from him at all.
I heard he might be in the running, Joe, for the next coach.
Oh, that's right. He was on the odds.
No. Imagine that, though. What do you think Stephen A. would rather? Would he rather be the head coach of the Knicks or the president of the United States? Because if you're Stephen A., you got your choice. You can do whatever you want.
A lot of nights on the road there.
A lot of nights. Well, president, too. You got to do some international travel, I'd imagine.
Always. Ooh, well, I mean, the president, you can... well, I guess... New York Knicks. I think he'd rather that.
I don't know. A lot of nice suits, a lot of podium talk. I think that's a tough one for Stephen A.
I feel like Tom Thibodeau, though, to be fair, I always liked the term that Teddy Bruschi used about Bill Belichick, where he would just keep wringing out the towel to get every last bit. I think Thibodeau did that with this group. Like, I do understand them breaking it up. Like, where can they get better? They can't.
Well, you're saying, like, with this roster.
They can't.
I think you got to move, like, I know Knicks fans love him. And he's like, he's Marcus Smart adjacent, but Josh Hart is a guy who I think he does a ton right, but he can't score in these games. And
he's like a bench guy. He's a fringe guy.
Yeah.
Like, to me, he'd be more valuable off the bench. It's not that he can't like the Marcus Smart's probably a good analogy. I think Smart's probably a better player.
Hart's more reliable.
Yeah.
Hart does a little bit of everything. I just think when you have a guy in your starting five like that who teams will just leave open, that you can't win.
And he was horrific in his shooting. I remember I kept saying, wow, another air ball boy. Josh Hart. But they have to get better. I think it starts with Cat. And that's why I'm going Jokic. I don't know. Like, I think back to when the Red Sox hired Terry Francona. Could they get Curt Schilling? Like, I think about these things, right? Like, You always think when they hire the guy, who's next? Just feel like if they hire Mike Malone, they have a shot at Jokic. But I think Jokic is more realistic than Giannis. You know, Cat is going to be in the league for a long time. He's going to make a lot of money. He'll probably put up some really good numbers, but I don't think anybody's going to take him seriously. And I think Jimmy Butler set that tone a long time ago. And you know what? Quite frankly, I thought that Ant-Man was a big influence on Rudy Gobert's turnaround. Like, let's face it, Rudy Gobert was a joke. The COVID stuff and his, like, you know.
Joe.
What?
He's won Defensive Player of the Year 4 times.
No, I know, but I agree with you. No, around the league, though, I think some people think he's a clown.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
I think he became tougher playing with Cat. With Ant-Man.
Weird how never gets brought up. Anthony Edwards has had a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year on his team. That's Jason Tatum's never played with a guy like that.
I haven't heard that either.
Weird.
What I heard was how much Anthony Edwards has made Gobert a better player.
Who's a better player, Karl Anthony Towns or Jimmy Butler?
Jimmy Butler. I respect apples to oranges, right? I would take Butler all day. The problem is like Cat's probably a better shooter. Isn't that weird?
He's definitely a better shooter.
I know you're right. Like here we are, like talking about a 6'10" big versus a shooting guard where there's a dime a dozen of them in the league. And I'd still rather Jimmy Butler. See, guys, I think the league is changing to the big again. Like in the 90s, it was David Robinson, Hakeem Olajuwon, Shaquille O'Neal. Like you needed that big. Patrick Ewing, right? Got him to a final. Like Detlef Schrempf was really good with, or Rick Smits. Like all those guys, they were good. They were competitive.
He was a pacer, right, for a bit there?
Yeah. The bigs were something in the 90s. Then it became Tim Duncan, right? And then, Chris Webber, call him with you one. He was a big with Sacramento. Like the league was about bigs.
KG.
Kevin Garnett won an MVP and, went really far and they lost. But I do think, though, when Michael Jordan played, it really was about guards, like Isaiah Thomas. The thing with Larry Bird was he had 2 monsters next to him, and he was 6'9". But yeah, even LeBron, for that matter, like it went away from the big when during his era, even Steph Curry's era. I think it's going back that way. That's why I still think Porzingis still a guy to hang on to. Mad Dog. I love that passion.
Something about me. He wouldn't even know who George Mikan is.
George Dolan. Still taking hits. Still taking hits. Didn't he? Was he the guy who went on tour? He went on tour, right?
Oh, Dolan, his little, band there or whatever.
Okay. I'm going to say this before we go to musings.
Oh, boy.
Trey's shaking his head. I don't know why. Thibodeau's going to get a lot of money. Doesn't need to coach this year. Doesn't need to. If I were him, I'd go hang out somewhere else. Could there be any interest in him sitting on the bench again for the Celtics next to Joe Mazzulla?
Would Joe Mazzulla want that?
Don't care. I guess that's the first question. Does Brad want it? Is it kind of take away from their offensive mindset? Like, could he be the one that does some X's and O's? Doc used to let Thibodeau do all the stuff, especially defensively.
Well, yes. We learned that as Doc.
But we learned. But you know what, though? On that team, he delegated well.
Well, there were reports that Udoka's defense was designed by Joe Mazzulla. So, I wonder what happened to those reports. Because that's out there. You can look it up.
You believe that?
I don't know what to believe, Joe. But that was reported at times that Udoka's defense was Joe Mazzulla. I think Malcolm Brogdon might have been the guy that said that. Greeny had something on it recently. But, yeah, I'd like to know where that came from because, yeah, I'm in favor of Tibbs coming back. But that also puts a little bit of the pressure on Mazzulla because And now you got a guy who's ready to go right behind him. So I wonder how he feels about that.
And there's a lot. I think there's a few guys.
Cassell.
The Jenkins guy we talked about. Like, there are guys that are probably turnkey ready. A lot of guys getting paid to do nothing.
That's the dream, Joe.
I call that the golden parachute.
And Monty Williams be collecting checks for a long time.
Monty Williams must own his own island. Monty Williams Island. That's what I told you, guys, when it's all done for me. When my days are over and I'm not working anymore, I want an Arnold Palmer in a glass.
Umbrella?
With an umbrella. Doesn't even need to be an alcoholic drink. I just want the umbrella in the drink. Like, you ever see Office Space, when he goes away and he goes, I want my drink, I want to be that guy. Just with a drink, with the umbrella. That would be it. No more worries. All I'll have to worry about is when I'm going to get up to go eat. And when I'm going to refill my drink. That's all I'll care about. All right, we got the musings coming up next. Murray's Musings here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5.
on a random take. Murray's got all sorts on stuff in the world unrelated to sports. So sit back, relax, and get your mind in the game and listen to the words of a grown man complaining.
Musings is generally a segment where if you got something on your mind that's pissing you off, or you just want to talk about something, or you found an article or a story. For example, last Thursday night we did the Sydney Sweeney bath stuff. Friday morning, Luca.
I haven't. Well, no, that was fake, Joe. I think.
Don't care. Well, that's good to know. I had an altercation this morning.
An altercation?
Yeah.
A disagreement?
Vocal exchange? Okay. I work in Boston, as you know, before I do the show here. On Tuesdays, I break cards, everybody. But the ride into Boston is always an adventure. I go Route 1, which is, of course, the Vegas Strip. So, I decided on my way in, I'm going to get gas. I might as well go now because when I get out, I'll be fighting traffic to get back to Waltham. So I just decided I'm going to get gas now. So I'm conflicted because I'm trying to get to the early bird. Now, for those who don't know the early bird in Boston, if you park in a garage before 9 a.m., you get a discounted price. So I was trying to get the early bird at 9 a.m. I needed gas. I had to make a decision. I decided to get gas. Well, on this particular gas station, all the gas pumps were full. Now, there were gas pumps open, but it wasn't my side of the gas tank. And I will tell you this right now, Skaz, unless it's like, I like to get gas at BJ's every once in a while. They have those long extender pumps, so you can go both sides. It doesn't matter. This, though, is just your traditional gas station. So I saw a guy reverse to get it on his side, which last time I did that, they didn't serve me, and now I know battle. Now I know the battle. So I parked behind a truck. They decided to use the credit card machine inside, get food, get dunks. They wanted to have a conversation, and so I wanted to have a conversation. And I said, hey, guys, if you look straight ahead of you, there's two parking spots right there. If you could just pull ahead, it'd be great. I can get in and we can let...
Pause? What is that? Stop?
Like hand to the face.
Talk to the hand?
Hey, guys, could you move up? There's just people behind me, and you're not pumping gas. You're just fiddling around. There's a spot right ahead of you if you look ahead, and the guy puts his hand up, and I go... Then I got out, and I put my hand up, and I said, do you see the spots? And he goes, hey, man, we're having a conversation over here. Yeah, can you have the conversation over there? Gave me lip. I said, hey, buddy, I'm not the guy with a big truck sitting in front of a pump right now fighting with a guy you don't want to fight with. So will you move your ass? That's what I said. The other guys got in the truck and moved. This guy, though, wanted to stare me down while I was pumping gas. I don't know why, guys. I wouldn't do that. I'm not that guy anymore. I will not go Joey Murda at a gas pump at 7:15 in the morning. I'm not going to do that. But do you imagine the gall to put your hand up like that? You know what I would say? I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were there. Let me just pull the truck up. Thank you. Sorry about that for the inconvenience. Hey, no problem, sir. Thank you. Have a great day. Me and this guy had a stare down while I pumped gas. And I'm like, let's go. Let's just talk. I wasn't going to do it. I wanted to have a conversation.
7:15 is quite early for staring and pumping, Joe. I'll say that.
What would you have done? You would have just waited it out?
I would have tried to go to another pump, probably.
I tried that, but I was now the people were behind me. I couldn't I
move.
Was stuck. So that was out of the equation. What else would you have done?
Not much, Joe. I'm not very confrontational. Well, in a situation like that, I'm probably just waiting the couple. Eventually, I think I would be like, hey, can we move this along? But yeah.
That's all I did.
Yeah.
But
I'm with you.
What if someone put their hand up to you?
Run them over. No. I think you just got to, give them a little lip and then go on your way.
There was once a moving service, now, because we have a great moving service here at 98.5 The Sports Zone. But one time a moving service, hand up to your boss. And he goes, we're not bringing this in the house. And he got in the truck and left. So I put my hand up on the phone. I called and I said, hey, who are these guys? No, I just want to know their names. And then he told me their names. And then I said, hey, this man put his hand up to me. And I would like to let you know that I did not appreciate that. Could you tell him that? Could you tell him that? I ended up canceling the order, didn't go with him out of spite. I could have got a couch anywhere. Not those guys.
Now, if you're pumping gas and someone's waiting behind you to come in, but there is another open pump, do you get upset at the person waiting?
Again, there was an open pump, but not my side, and they didn't have. And I Route 1, so you can only go one way. So I just feel like who has the conversations at a gas pump? This isn't a water cooler.
Well, the reason I ask is because that happened to me once, where it was a smaller gas station in Raynham where there's only pumps on two sides. And so I came in, guy was pumping his gas. He took a little while, but the other side of the pump was completely open. Mind you, I'm not beeping. I'm not like on his ass. I'm just waiting. So the guy finally is done pumping his gas. As he's like going to get in his car and I'm like trying to pull up, he starts freaking out on me. And he's like, oh, you could have gone around. Like, yeah. And I'm like, dude, what does it matter to you where I pump my gas? I wasn't beeping. I didn't. So I was just wondering if that irks people.
You did nothing wrong.
Yeah. I thought it was funny.
So I think I might have told you there was a gas station that there was a Dunks in, and I had another confrontation with a guy because he wouldn't scan my.
Oh yes, this one I remember. This one upset you. This was not too long ago.
I saw him recently. Lemonade? Oh, we don't have lemonade. Okay, no problem. Thank you. So I wonder if he didn't want to bring it up, and then when I asked, he declined me. But that's our relationship now. He doesn't remember, and he declined me. But at that same gas station, guys, there is people who pull up to the pump, and then go inside and shop. They're not getting gas. They're just sitting in front of the gas pump.
What if they're paying for the gas inside?
I do that. That's why when I come back out, if someone looks at me as coming out without getting gas, I then pump. And you know what they do when they see me and they're done? They reverse out because they know I'm getting gas.
I give you one that's just, we're doing musing, stuff that kind of irks us. There's a new 24, quote-unquote, 24/7 gas station, relatively close to where I live. But, Joe, they close for 15 minutes a day for turnover, the registers, whatever it is.
My CVS does this every day when I go.
So they're
at break for some reason.
So they close, they lock the doors from 11:45 p.m. to midnight. And if you know our schedule, we leave here most nights at 11 p.m.
11:15.
So I am getting near my house around that 15-minute window numerous times. I have, one time I tried to go in there. They told me it was closed. And now I, go to a different gas station if I need it at night. But it's just, you couldn't pick like 2 a.m. or something like that and I'm sure there's reasons for it all. But that irks me when I'm just trying to get gas or a Gatorade at 11:40, and they're like, "Sorry, we're 24 hours, but we're closed."
Don't advertise that you're open 24 hours if you're not. You could be open 23 hours.
Fine with me.
Just tell me. Transparency's really just up these days.
Communication, Joe.
Yeah. You know what? I don't even think communication's good anymore.
You need your pilots talking to each other. That's what I learned.
I would like transparency. Well, yes, guys. My brain, when you said that, I went like this. I was thinking like this, and then whee! When I go to the pharmacy, and I respect them all. You know what's funny? So recently I went to the pharmacy, but I did drive-through because all I had to do was pick it up. It's already ready.
I've done this, yeah.
So I pulled up and it said, we are on break until...
This happened to me.
2 o'clock.
Last week.
2 o'clock or something.
Yeah, it was like 1 to 2 or whatever it was.
So I was 1:45 and I said, you know what? I'm going to wait this one out. So I doom scrolled for 15 minutes.
Someone in the chat says, Joe, every single CVS closes from 1:30 to 2 p.m.
Transparency. That's all I can ask for.
The pharmacy.
Now, all I need to know is not to go to... You know what, though? Maybe that's the time to go so I can wait in line. Or, like, get... Why don't we start with James Purifoy, 61 years old. Mike Gordon, 60 years old. Anderson Cooper, 58 years old. Ann Winters, 30.
Went to Vanderbilt, like related to the Vanderbilts. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, he was, yeah. Rafael Nadal is 39 years old.
Joe, it is Steve Lyons' birthday today.
Yeah.
Joe, do you know who Kerry King is?
No.
Heavy metal guitarist and songwriter for Slayer.
Oh, yes.
It was their birthday today.
They were at WrestleMania. I should have mentioned that.
Leaves and aliens and stuff.
And dinosaurs.
Yeah, I was a big Carl Everett kid growing up.
No, Carl Everett was a kind of a, I don't want to use the word hothead. Okay.
Emotional.
Well, he, tough guy. I will tell you that much. I would never mess with this man. Let's say he got into it with an umpire. Decided to headbutt him. Pretty embarrassing. Happened in front of everybody. I'm sure if you just Google Carl Everett, the first word that will pop up is headbutt.
What was it? Who's the paw saw? Was that Izzy Alcantara?
Oh, Izzy Alcantara with a nice little kick backwards.
The drop kick.
That was epic.
That was to the catcher though, not the umpire, right?
That was a screw you, I'm getting you. Yeah, Carl Everett also broke up a Mike Mussina no-hitter at Fenway Park in the 9th inning. 2 outs left. Did you know that he was a switch hitter, but he could only see well out of this eye? He'd also have a toothpick in his mouth. So when he hit, he would try to see left-handed this way, and when he batted right-handed, and he actually had a better right-handed average than a left-handed average. And he had one eye better than the other. Don't ask me why I know that.
Did you say, Joe, that it's Al Horford's birthday today?
How could I forget?
It is Al Horford's birthday today.
Jason Tatum is Jason Tatum trying to keep Al Horford with all those messages today?
Yeah, I think we've known about the Tatum Al bromance for a while. Tatum said he's the best teammate he's ever had for a number of years. I think you want Tatum happy, Horford and Derek White are here.
I did see that today. Any other good birthdays?
It is Super Mario Götze's birthday today. Scored the game-winning goal for Germany in the World Cup maybe 10, 15 years ago now. You said Nadal, right? Rafael Nadal.
Well, what would you do if someone put their hand up to you to be quiet? No, it's another thing I hate. You ever get someone who snaps their fingers at you? Or like, hey! Or like
out. Never snap at me. Never out. Don't ever do that.
Hey, you. And you snap at them?
No.
What about a finger wave?
Out.
You know what else I just hate? If you're going to throw up the middle finger. Yes, but no, if you're going to do it, you better, there's going to be repercussions.
Speaking of flipping the bird, Joe, did you see that the bird was flipped in the midday today? I flipped the bird. Dropped off some chicken for the guys. There was some flip the bird talk earlier.
So flip the bird. The guys that I know from
Joe, spread the wealth a little bit. They've helped us out before. You know, the midday got to taste a little.
So they brought the food to them and not us.
I believe that. I didn't want
the guys that I know from the North Shore.
You take it up with them,
that
Joe.
Came to the Sylvan Street Grill event and gave me their card and said we'll come by anytime.
I'm just a messenger.
I guess
Joe.
the anytime was midday, huh?
Some flip the bird talk.
This is what's I love doing nights, but like we get the crumbs. We get or nothing.
When you say we get the crumbs, Joe, people don't realize literally when we come in, whatever food drop was here, whatever, once a week, twice a week, the remnants are left. Literally scrapes are left over there, which I find it funny.
Do you know Friday is National Donut Day?
This Friday.
Do you know that I've already got breakfast for the people on Saturday morning because of the people coming on Friday?
Look at that.
Because I care about our team. Taking care of the weekend guys, because that's where I started.
Hands up or wave their finger in your face have ever had a moment where they've been punched in the face before, because they definitely. I can't even follow through because I'm going to start cursing right now.
No, John.
I apologize for that.
Skaz said to me, he goes, I said, if you're going to throw up the middle finger, you better prepare for repercussions.
Oh, absolutely.
Like
absolutely.
That is a lever. If you pull out the finger, it's a lever you have to pull because you can't control yourself.
Yes.
You know what it's like? Don't push the red button. Don't push the red button. Once you get the bird, dude, the red button's getting pushed.
You had me before when he got out of the car and went into the gas station and shopped. I was already at red before you even finished that call. I was out.
Now, John,
you know
this happened on
just...
Route 1 at about 7:30 this morning.
Oh, man.
In Saugus.
Oh, man. Oh, it's beautiful. Hey, listen, I listen to you every day. I love you. I really do. And I'm not usually a type to call in at all. You know,
but I got you.
Listen and just
stare
at my own radio. And I'm like, oh, my God. I'm like, I got to call in right now.
You were like I like this guy, Joe. I'm feeling this. I'm going to call him.
Yeah, I'm going to feel it. Yeah, I know you're a Boston guy. I'm a townie. You know what I mean? So there's a certain amount of etiquette that goes into things. It's
what part of Boston
just pull up to the parking spot.
What part of Boston are you from?
I grew up in Charlestown.
So you are a townie. Okay, when you say townie,
I am a townie. Yeah.
Good for you, sir. I still love that 99.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, listen, I love you. I just had to call in. I was just seeing red. I didn't even know how to get the words out correctly.
Now, I will tell you this, John, I will tell you this. I went over the Charlestown Bridge today, or whatever they call it now, and I made the early bird, just to finish off this story. Early bird's 9 a.m. I made it to TD Garden by 8:58.
Fantastic.
That's a win.
Yeah, I'm a construction. I'm over the MGH. We're building the new hospital.
I saw this
right now.
Good for you, buddy.
So I deal with it every day.
I'll flip the bird by you next time, all right?
Oh, fantastic.
Later, buddy. All right, we got to go to break. Bobby Manning, I forgot. He's next on the Sports Hub.
From the Tell Your Type Studios, WBZ FM and HD1.
It's not just the games. It's Toucher and Hardy. Zolak.
98.5 The Sports.
Just give me a kiss.
Well, the Red Sox lost. Red Sox lose 4-3, 10 innings. That's their 7th extra inning loss this year. It's the most in Major League Baseball. 17 one-run losses this year. 17.
Off the Garden report, so I'm all fired up. We just did 2 hours, so
what was your hottest,
ready to roll.
What was your hottest take?
Well, we were revisiting our worst takes of the year.
Ooh, let's hear it. What was your worst? The team that didn't do it in 4. Well, the coach that beat them is fired today. What are your thoughts?
I hate it. And, I hated the Malone one. I hated Taylor Jenkins, hated Mike Brown in Sacramento, all those moves. And so every day I'm sitting there when it happens and, just like everybody else saying, how could they do this? Doesn't make any sense. These teams weren't failures. They weren't enormously underperforming. But then a lot of these teams pivot to a new option that fits better for their roster or takes them in a different direction, or the players get bought back in. And you start to realize a little bit that it's more about the buy-in with a coach than it is whether a coach is doing the right things or scheming up the right X's and O's and all that. And with Tibbs, my sense is that there just wasn't complete buy-in to the whole situation, how they were utilizing the roster and different players on it. I mean, you saw them switch away from Josh Hart. You saw them make all kinds of lineup adjustments throughout the playoffs, many of them too late in that Indiana series. And the tough part for me in seeing him go is I thought he was brilliant against the Celtics. And back to what I was wrong about going into that series, I thought Joe had a significant advantage over Tibbs for the reasons people are talking about Tibbs getting fired today, and the Knicks ended up sliding by. So I thought he should have gotten more leeway, more of a chance to return and, at least start next year with that team because of what I still see, even with the injuries, as a monumental upset win for the Knicks, one of the great ones we've seen. And it just stinks that, in 2000, I just can't fathom a coach losing their job after that. But we'll look up next year, and whoever takes over will probably do a better job with that roster and help take them to the next step like Steve Kerr did in Golden State and Kenny Atkinson did this year with Cleveland, and all the way down the line we've seen it.
You mentioned predetermined. I said before the series, Tom Thibodeau's already fired, and Mike Malone's the new head coach.
It was unbelievable. Yeah. You could see it coming a mile away.
So is it Mike Malone? So if you want to take, I've been marinating it, and I already fired it up and put it in the air fryer.
I could see that under him, and even a Jeff Van Gundy. I'm sure that's a name that'll come up. After what he did with the Clippers last year. But those are guys that don't seem to me a lot of assistants around the league that you could potentially see in that spot. Maybe even look to the college game. I mean, can you rule out a Jay Wright reunion with some of the Villanova guys there? Like, I don't rule that out at all, especially if this is going to be more of a player-led decision here. So, those are some of the names I'm looking at. I would guess, Brett, that don't get the Suns job, that end up going over to New York, because that's obviously the best job available right now.
I think the Knicks should hire Mike Malone so they can try to lure Nikola Jokic out of Denver.
Interesting. You think there's enough chemistry and rapport there to shift Jokic's future?
I don't know, but you know what, though? There'll be names like Durant. There'll be names like Giannis. I think realistically, if people are going to talk about Jokic going to L.A., why not talk about Jokic going to New York? I think Mike Malone could lure him. I don't think he cares about New York. I do think I would only make that move so you can at least try to get Jokic.
Yeah, I still think that was a great move and great pivot from a couple of different guys that weren't going in the best direction for them, late last year, and DiVincenzo and Randall. So, that's something that they could shift some of that cap space into. I'm interested to see how they're going to maneuver that roster because they don't have a lot of flexibility. They're obviously going to try to make some changes. As much as the Kyrie summer, and there were some years where they really overhauled this roster to bring a star in, I just think it would have to be so drastic to bring in a Giannis here that I don't see that happening either. I'm actually starting to think he could start next season in Milwaukee. So that leaves the East, standing pat for now, and that might actually be a decent.
Be the assistant for Joe Mazzulla, and if something happened with Mazzulla, they could maybe transition to Tibbs?
I love that idea. They did sort of a overarching front office role for Jeff Van Gundy last season, 2 years ago now, that I think was effective. And I think Tom Thibodeau was here during that gap year between Minnesota and I think him being hired in New York. That was the timing there, significant, and really helped their defensive game planning and all that sort of stuff. So if that's a role he would embrace, given that he has, 3 years, $30 million left on his deal or something ridiculous like that after getting fired by New York here, I think that would be enormously beneficial for a Boston team that, like you said, has lost a lot of brain power and rising. I think that exit there and him ascending to another significant part of their scouting staff there, and Remy Cofield, who went to Arkansas to lead their basketball program. So a couple major guys in their draft process leaving this summer, which is difficult. Still some great brain power there between Brad and the other guys on that staff. There's still a lot of quality remains that I actually do think are impactful more than people think when you start to lose stuff on that side. The roster stuff's obvious. The front office coaching stuff, though, is pretty impactful too.
All right, Bobby, who wins, Pacers or Thunder?
I'm leaning Thunder. I started to think midway through the year that they were getting the treatment that the Celtics did a year ago, where all the numbers are saying that they're championship material by far, that they're one of the all-time teams we've seen in a regular season. And I wanted to believe that would translate throughout these playoffs. But if that chance to make it tough, I doubted them against the Knicks, even though I liked their chance to push at 7. And so I'm going to give them another chance to really push the series further than many people will predict it to. But I just can't pick them again. I think Thunder play a faster pace than them even. They have a defense that they haven't seen yet, Indiana. And the depth on that side, too, can match the array of players you see Indiana run into the game, the press, and do all this different stuff that they do. I think they're finally going to meet their match here.
All right, Bobby. Hey, I appreciate you adjusting the schedule for us tonight. Love talking hoops with you, man. And we'll catch up once the Celtics start doing some stuff.
It's coming soon. Draft in 3 weeks. We'll talk soon, Joe.
You got it, Bobby. Appreciate your time, bud. Thank you.
Bye.
All right, he's Bobby Manning, everybody. Great stuff from him. CLNS. And he's got a big podcast with a bunch of people, so you should listen to it because they gave their worst takes. Speaking of worst takes, listen to this quote from Alex Cora after the game tonight, and we'll get into this on the other side. Quote, "We keep making the same mistakes. We're not getting better. At one point, it has to be on me, I guess." Does that sound like quiet quitting? Can you believe 17 losses in a month and a half? Or is it 2 months? April, May. 2 months. Let me guess. This guy thinks Roman Anthony's going to save the team, right?
So, no, I mean, I kind of want to know your thoughts on would you even bring him up right now?
No.
A guy's going to have definitely a lot on his plate making his debut anyway. And, I played a little baseball, watched enough to know that, the vibes of the team around you will weigh on you. So you clearly just said no. And I'm good for it. I'm enjoying watching him in Worcester.
Do you know why?
Why is that?
Real quick, where are you going to play? I know this is the best prospect in baseball.
But he's just killing it. He's having fun. The people love him. I don't know why you would kind of want to bring him in right now.
He can't save the Red Sox.
I totally agree.
The Red Sox, he can't save the Red Sox from themselves.
Nope. It would be exciting. Because, honestly, great pure hitter. And, that they need a guy like that just to score a run late in the game. So, I'm not saying he would save the Red Sox, but might be a lot of pressure on a young guy,
The team's a giant mess. Thanks, Kevin. It's all on Cora. Something has to change. Something has to change. I have a date of when it could change, when it will change, guys. I have a date. I will tell you what that date is after this on the Sports Hub.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
The Red Sox lose 4-3 tonight, 10 innings. They blew it. Tom Thibodeau got fired. He's out. Will Campbell got paid. Stefon Diggs still waiting.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
We gave them chances to do what they did to win the game.
How much are these close losses, eating at you and, frustrating you?
I mean, we keep making the same mistakes. We're not getting better. At one point, it has to be on me, I guess, right? I'm the manager, so, I got to keep pushing them to be better. They're not getting better. They're not, we keep making them the same mistakes. I'll be very honest about it, very open about it, you get frustrated, but at one point it's like, okay, what are we going to do? What's going to change, because we keep doing the same thing. We can keep talking about one-road losses. They're 17, 18, whatever it is, and it's the same thing. So, is it effort, preparation, like Duke said, attention to detail, I have no idea now. I watched that game, I was like, wow, this is real, it's frustrating.
How much you've been banging your head against the wall about the defense for years, like that really irritates you more than anything. What have you seen just defensively all year?
What you saw today, routine ground balls for the plays we don't turn. We throw to the wrong bases. We make cutoff guys. PFPs were horrible. So there's a lot of bad right now.
Was that a quit? That sounded quitty to me. I'm not going to give you the lazy, they should fire Cora, he isn't the man. I'm not going to do any of that. That sounded like a man defeated knowing he can't fix this. Know what else I think he knows? It's him or Breslow. Someone's got to go. One of them's got to go. I would keep Cora personally. But, Skaz? Just to
Why? Why would you keep Alex Cora? What has he done other than cheat and win baseball games when he's cheating? Does his team get better defensively year to year?
I feel like I'm being punished. I have this weird... It's not going to happen. But... I think I'd rather Cora in Breslow's position. He's not. So what's the alternative? You got too many young guys here. They need to develop. They need to learn. There's no leadership. His message doesn't work, clearly. And just to give you, what happened here, okay? They were down 3-0. They battled back. Jaron Duran got it. Ceddanne Rafaela hit another big home run. That back-to-back nights. Let's take Cora out of it. Back-to-back nights, the team's been resilient. They battled back. They got to the 10th inning tonight. What happened was... No,
made it to the 10th.
I know. But what happened was in a bases-loaded situation. Who played third tonight?
Toro, maybe? I don't even know.
Runner on third. He threw it to second, to first to get the double play. But do you know what happens? Run scores. Right? Yeah. Ward grounded into a double play. He went third. Yeah, that's what happened, right? That's how they scored the final run, 4-3. Yeah, I'm right. Okay, I don't know. What was that? Why was that the throw? I'm telling you, if you play that again, play it again. Let's just hear it. I know it's long. This is a defeated man with no answers.
We gave them chances to do what they did to win the game.
How much are these close losses, eating at you and frustrating you?
I mean, we keep making the same mistakes. We're not getting better. At one point, it has to be on me, I guess, right? I'm the manager, so I got to keep pushing them to be better. They're not getting better. They're not. We keep making them the same mistakes. I'll be very honest about it, very open about it. You get frustrated, but at one point it's like, okay, what are we gonna do? What's gonna change? Because we keep doing the same thing. We can keep talking about one-road losses. They're 17, 18, whatever it is, and it's the same thing. So, is it effort, preparation, like Duke said, attention to detail. I have no idea now. I watched that game. I was like, wow, this is real.
He's done. He's done.
It's frustrating.
How much
He's done.
you've been banging your head against the wall about the defense for years? Like that really irritates you more than anything. What have we seen just defensively all year?
What you saw today, routine ground balls for the plays we don't turn. We throw to the run bases. We make cut-off guys. PFPs were horrible. So there's a lot of bad right now.
He's done. He's done, Skess.
I give you the piece of that stood out to me when he says, I guess it's my fault. I guess it's got something to do with me. It's like when someone should be taking blame and they're like, yeah, I mean, I guess I could have done something differently. I guess it's not exactly what I meant. Like, Alex Corey, you're part of the problem. Something you're doing isn't working.
Skaz, if we lost 17 straight weeks in the ratings,
well, I wouldn't have a job, but yeah.
But one, you're right. Okay, you're right. But if we lost by one every single week, we'd be like, something's not right here, right? Like we would say it to each other. Hey, man, what do you think, dude?
Well, we do that after 1 week, Joe.
I promised an announcement. So the radio station is going to have the Stanley Cup Finals. So they'll be playing the Stanley Cup Finals all throughout the finals here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. So they'll be streaming all the games. I believe the puck drops at 8 o'clock, so we'll be on 7 to 8, and then we'll be on after the game if there's no overtime until midnight. So the station is going to be broadcasting the Stanley Cup Finals. So tomorrow night we'll be on at 7 till 8, and then we'll hang out here. The game will be on the radio. You can listen to Brad Marchand's quest to a Stanley Cup or 3 losses.
The 3-peat.
Stanley Cup. So you'll get one or the other. So the station will be having the Stanley Cup Finals in place of us, but we will be here 7 to 8, and then we'll be on after the game if there is an overtime. So I'm not sure if that's been announced yet or what the station has said, but I wanted to let everybody know in case they were not on, and that's the Stanley Cup. Cool. Cora's done. That's a guy. I know what I would do if I was him. Me, I would. This is a smoke a joint night. This is a maybe a hard alcohol. You'd sip it with a joint and just like sleep in a chair, not in bed. What do you think about that?
I think that's what you do when it's out of your control. This is in Alex Cora's control, but I understand the sentiment. Most nights are a joint night, Joe.
Well, Skaz, you know what? I'm going to go home right now. You're going to go home right now?
They'd probably do the same.
Probably do the same damn thing. All right, Trey, excellent job tonight. Thank you for your help on the graphics podcast. We're going to get Trey on the air some night, so we'll have some fun. Of course, this hour of the Sports Hub brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Enjoy quick and convenient vehicle maintenance this month. Visit NewEnglandOilChange.com to save 15% off your next round through oil change at Valvoline Instant Oil Change, the official oil change of busy people. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5.